So welcome everyone at home, in the offices, on the beaches, wherever you may be. Feel as a part of this as everybody else who is here in person. I also would like to mention that the bathrooms, both for ladies and gentlemen, we don't have diverse here at the University of Nairobi. So for ladies and gentlemen are out this door to your left and again to your left. Yeah, that's written bathrooms, and when you enter this door, you have the separate bathrooms in case they need to be used. I would also like to point out, as you can already see, this event is being filmed, recorded, and also photos are being taken, and we informed you about that in advance. And since no one who is here objected, we assume that this is okay with you. We have to tell you that this is for privacy in accordance with the privacy laws. So, without further ado, I would like to ask you to rise for the Kenya National Anthem. And finally, the anthem of the East African community. Thank you. You may be seated. And I would like to welcome the director of the DED Regional Office for Africa, Mrs. Schindler-Kovac, for some opening welcome remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Anya. Thank you very much. Dear Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Kiama, His Excellency Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Kenya, dear Sebastian Groth, dear Dr. Kai Six, Secretary General of the DAD, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, good morning, and especially a good morning to our alumni and alumni. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. On behalf of the DAD office in Nairobi, the regional office, a warm welcome to this alumni meeting on occasion of our 50-year anniversary of the DAD, so-called DAD in our region here in East Africa. It's wonderful that we today have alumni from all 7 countries, which is in the regional responsibility of the office here in Nairobi. You, dear alumni and alumni, are here on behalf of the many, many more in the region, and we want to celebrate that with you together. We have only been able to invite a small number of alumni, so you represent the many other alumni in our countries. Many of the alumni and partners are joining us as well for the live stream today, and others are joining us tomorrow. I would now like to draw the attention of the alumni of each country and to welcome them. So, starting alphabetically with the alumni of Burundi. Please stand up. Burundi, wow. Thank you, Willy Marcel, for coming. You are most welcome to join us here today. Followed by the alumni from Ethiopia. Ethiopia alumni, please stand up. A warm welcome to you. And thank you for coming the long way from Ethiopia. Thank you very much. Now, of course, alumni from Kenya. Kenyans, stand up. And we give you a warm applause for welcoming. Thank you so much for being here. Now we have also, I hope, at least one alumnus from Rwanda. Nathan, are you here? Wow. Unfortunately, we only can make it for one participant from Rwanda. The others didn't get any permission from their employers. But Nathan, you're more than welcome here. Thank you. Also, alumni from South Sudan, Betty and Professor Abad. Well, thank you very much for coming. Followed by the alumni from Tanzania. We have a wonderful lady here in red and others. How good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, alumni from Uganda. Where are you? Please show up. Thank you for being here. Ugandans are here. Thank you so much. And of course, finally, because it's a German East African Forum, and we are also celebrating the German East African academic relations, they are also partners, colleagues from Bonn, and also alumni. Let's also welcome the Germans with a round of applause. Please stand up. Good. Thank you so. Okay, so we are really exciting to have a wonderful day with you and look forward to getting to know you personally. After this COVID time, we had not so often the opportunity to meet here face to face. So it's really after 2019, the first alumni meeting we have here again. And I wish all of us a wonderful day, fruitful discussions, and let's celebrate. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Beate. The next part of our event is to have the opening remarks. There will be 4. Since we have already delayed ourselves a bit, I would request each speaker to maybe not more than 5 minutes. I'm sure you are prepared accordingly. But before that, I'm sure, particularly diplomats are prepared for that. Before that, I would like to let you know the Wi-Fi password. There is supposed to be Wi-Fi here today. The username is DAD in capital letters, very obvious choice. And then the password itself is Nairobi in small letters, 2023 as one word. Nairobi 2023. Yeah? So I would like to quickly introduce the welcoming remark speakers and then ask them one after the other to come here. Obviously, Professor Kiyama is the first one to speak. He is the host, and not only that, he is the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Nairobi. He might not be a DED alumnus, but We convinced him at one point to be a member of our PhD scholarship selection committee. So maybe one of you is actually the beneficiary of his decision. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he can find out once he mingles. After him, I would like to invite Dr. Kai Six to speak. He is the General Secretary of the DED. He has come all the way from Germany, and please be particularly nice to him because this is his first time in Nairobi and in Kenya. And obviously East Africa, so that goes to all of you. Then we have His Excellency Sebastian Groth. He is the ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Kenya. He is by far no stranger to this country. He was here 20 years ago as the cultural attaché. I'm sure he pushed very hard and made it his first choice to be his first ambassadorial position to be in Kenya, isn't it? So we welcome him again, and in his CV he says he speaks German, English, and French, which is a lie, because whoever follows him on social media knows he is also trying his hand on Swahili. Trying his hand on Swahili, so please, East Africans, help him improve his Swahili. And last but, I forgot, I'm sorry. The most important person, as she is a lady, and the only one among our opening remarks speakers is Professor Hirut Voldemariam. She is an alumna from Ethiopia, and she held 3 ministerial positions in the past, and we're really happy for her to make the time and be here with us. So first, Professor Kiyama, then Dr. Six, then Professor Voldemariam, and finally, His Excellency Sebastian Groth. Please.
So thank you very much, Anya. Just to clarify what you talked about, the alumni, I'm actually one. Yeah. As I mentioned to the Director General, DAD, Germany was my second country to visit as a young man in 1993. When I got a scholarship. First, I got a scholarship to do my master's and then got the short visit to Germany, the Free University of Berlin. And I still remember those days, they were just introducing computers. And my mentor, Professor Dietrich Weilock, had one in his office. And I asked him to use the computer, and he asked, have you used a computer before? And I said, no. Then he said, then what you need to do is that I'll get you this typewriter. You learn how to use the typewriter, and then when you learn, then you use the computer. And then we had quite some discussion with him. And as a young man, he just allowed me to use it. He said, anyway, just use it then. Because I did not know how to use the typewriter, neither did I use how to use the computer. I better learn with a computer. And it was his computer, his personal computer, so he allowed me to stay in the same office with him, although I had another office, but I spent most of the time in his office. He was really a great mentor. And as a result, from the little work, the work I was doing, electron microscopy then, I was able to write my first paper in a very good journal, the Journal of Anatomy. So I've never forgotten that man. And later I invited him when I was chairman of the department to be a visiting professor in my department. He has since retired. So that's 3 minutes. 3 minutes gone, but some remaining 2 minutes. Just really to acknowledge all of you who are here this morning. I want to acknowledge Sebastian Groth, the ambassador of Federal Republic of Germany, Professor Hirut Voldemariam, alumnus of Addis Ababa University, Kai Six, General Secretary of the German Exchange Service. And I see from our midst, we have so many distinguished guests, including Banyankibona Gaspard, who is Inter-University Council for East Africa, Secretary General, And I saw some vice chancellors here. I saw Professor Budo, the vice chancellor at Kisii University. I think for me, just to say, we are grateful as a university to be the host for this event when DAD is celebrating 50 years. Yeah. So when the history is written later about the DAD University of Nairobi, and particularly my name as Vice Chancellor, Professor Kiama, we also appear there. So I'm very grateful to host you for this event. And to just mention that our country, Kenya, and the University of Nairobi in particular, has benefited a lot from DAD. Because many of those who went to train in Germany through scholarship offered by DAD have progressed to take different strategic positions or policy-making positions in the country. And I believe that some of the culture, some of the behavior, some of the practices we picked as young women and men have influenced the way we work and the decision we make. We learned the culture of hard work. And with this, then, it's just to welcome you again to the University of Nairobi. Asante, and God bless you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Kiama, thank you very much for your words and for hosting us here today. I think this is extremely appropriate to be here in these rooms because our collaboration between DAD and the University of Nairobi date almost 50 years back, exactly like the age of our regional office is here in your country. So thanks very much for making this possible here in your rooms. Your Excellency, Ambassador Groth, Your Excellency, Ambassador Migiro, dear Professor Mirut, dear alumni and alumni, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear honored guests. It's a pleasure and a privilege to welcome you here on behalf of the German Academic Exchange Service. As you know, the DAD, or DAD, as ever you like, is deeply committed to the exchange of students and researchers, but particularly to the academic collaboration between East Africa and Germany. And for this reason, I'm really happy that we have the opportunity today to celebrate these 50 years of our regional office here in Nairobi, covering all these 7 countries that were mentioned before by Beate Schindler-Kovacs. When I prepared for this event, I went to my bookshelf and was picking out this tiny blue book here, which is actually the annual report of DAD from the year 1973, so 50 years ago. There are no images in it, unfortunately, so no documentation from the time 50 years ago, but a lot of text, and it also provided me with a background story of it, how it all started 50 years ago. And I wanted to share this with you very quickly. So as you know, and Mr. Ambassador will probably also remind you of this, West Germany was the first country which acknowledged Kenya as an independent country in 1963. And very soon after, the Ministry for Economic Collaboration and Development provided DAD with the means to come up with a scholarship program here in the country of Kenya, also with a reach to the broader region. And we installed this in the late 1960s. And the program was so successful and grew so very fast that in the early 1970s, DAD lobbied at the ministry to have a person here to organize and administer the program and be here for the scholarship holders and also for interested students in the future. And in 1973, the ministry finally gave the permission to DAD to have this person. And in September, so exactly 50 years ago, almost to this day here, the first DAD representative came to Kenya, and this was the birth of the East African office of DAD. And since then, I think we've experienced a true success story here. We have not only expanded our office. Today we have 10 people working there, and you will meet all of them here today. But we were also able to fund numerous scholarship initiatives, numerous programs for university-to-university collaboration in the region. I would just name a few. Today we award, for example, scholarships for summer courses, for master programs, for PhD candidates, both in East Africa and in Germany. We support several centers of African excellence over the whole region. We support one global center for climate and environment here in Kenya, and many other university programs. And so that overall today, we can see that we have funded the impressive number of 45,000 students and researchers from East Africa and 18,000 of Kenya alone. I think that's really impressive, and 45, yeah, thank you very much. I mean, in fact, 45,000 alumni means that we could have filled, with this event here, 3 times the city stadium of Nairobi. So we didn't do it. We kept it more modest, and you are the exclusive crowd to be invited here. I'm very happy to meet all of you here. We are particularly proud of these high numbers, and I mentioned them, because the alumni and alumni of DID are the biggest treasure that we have. So we know from all the conversations with you and your colleagues, and we'll also see it on this wonderful gallery tour here on 50 DID alumni from the last 50 years. We know from that you continue to work together with German partners even after the actual scholarship. You spread the word, you invite new generations to join in your path and to collaborate with Germany, and you are basically the anchors and guarantors of the good, sometimes excellent bilateral relations between your countries and Germany. So I would like to thank you very much for being DID's voice here in Africa, for joining this event, for giving us the opportunity to exchange. I would like to thank the embassy and the Foreign Office for the continuous support that we receive in Germany, but also here on the ground. And I would particularly like to thank Beate Schindler-Kovacs and the team of our regional office here who made all this possible here and organized this event. So thanks everybody for being here. I hope we'll have a joyful day here, and I wish you good conversations and a nice day. Thank you very much for your attention.
Excellency Dr. Kai Sik, General Secretary of DID, and Ms. Beate Schindler-Kovacs, Director of the DID Regional Office, and Professor Stefan Keyama, Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, our host, and Honorable Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany in Kenya, dignitaries, members of the alumni group across the world, across the region, friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all. First of all, I'd like to express my feeling this morning that I feel very much humble and excited to take part in this wonderful event, a celebration of half a century journey of DID in our region, the East Africa. So this is a huge event, and I'm so happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Sorry. What happened? Sorry. Oh. It's an absolute honor for me to represent also all the alumni in the region and deliver this opening speech on all behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers of this wonderful event, which marks a significant historical milestone. Today, we're here to witness, recognize, and celebrate the 5 decades-long commitment of the DID, German Academic Exchange Service, that has touched the lives of many in this region, including mine. My sincere appreciation and thanks goes to the leaders, administrators, and the staff who have been working in the regional office tirelessly over the past 50 years. They have been working efficiently on availing all the necessary information on how to pursue higher education and research cooperation in Germany, on funding and scholarship opportunities, university collaboration, and beyond. It is also important at this point that DAAD has made a major impact on academic and scientific exchange, not only across borders, but also across cultural and political boundaries. Indeed, DAAD has played an important role in fostering global cooperation among regions and nations around the world, as students from different countries come together to study and learn from each other also. So this exemplary academic partnership has already produced many successful scholars, professionals, and leaders who have positively transformed their respective institutions, their respective communities, countries, and the East Africa countries, like, namely Ethiopia, Kenya, Burundi, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda. So it has been just reported that since 1973, over 45,000, imagine, a large number, DAAD scholarship recipients have come from this region, Eastern Africa. Many of them have benefited from postgraduate studies and research opportunities through scholarship and fellowship programs. And in addition, several German students and scholars were able also to visit the region for study and research purposes under this exchange program. And once again, I would like to express my gratitude to the German Academic Exchange Service for making this opportunity possible. And I'm sure that the opportunities provided to these 45,000 people in the region has positively impacted many more due to the multiplier and spillover effects of higher education and research. Higher education is, as you know, a powerful tool for economic development, technological progress, and social change. Therefore, we can say that DAAD's support so far in this region has contributed and will keep on contributing to the development of a strong pool of talents that improve the region's competitiveness, its position in the global economy, and its capability to address local and global challenges. In fact, I cannot overestimate the impact of DAAD in our region, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to use this opportunity also to forward my highest appreciation beyond DAAD to the government of Germany that has been a reliable partner in the region for so many years. I'm a first-hand witness as a former Minister of Higher Education and Science in Ethiopia that through its various programs and initiatives, the German government has been demonstrating its concrete support and commitment to our region through provision of research grants, technical assistance, and infrastructure development to our universities, research institutes, and also to the technical and vocational schools in our region, and also to non-governmental organizations as well. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that this conference can serve as a special platform for all alumni to reconnect and network for a greater future in the coming decades. And I believe that this event can also serve as a unique opportunity to share our experiences, perspectives, knowledge, and tips among us for advancing the existing partnership further. And I'm really proud to be part of the DAAD family, and I look forward to see more achievements of DAAD in the decades to come, and congratulations to DAAD East Africa office. Thank you, danke schön.
Good morning, everybody, or as we say here in East Africa, ham jumbo. Dear Professor, thank you for hosting us. Dear Dr. Six, thank you for coming all the way from Germany. Professor Woldemariam, my fellow colleague and Excellency Migiro, and of course Ms. Schindler-Kovacs. Good morning to all of you. I'm very happy to be here and really feel proud and very honored that we celebrate these 50 years of DAAD presence here in Nairobi. I think it's an unparalleled success story. I did not know about this figure of 45,000 students that benefited from scholarships. I knew about the 18,000 from Kenya, which is still an impressive number, but 45,000. I come from a small town in Germany, about 13,000 people, so 3 times this town is really unimaginable. And it's not only politically, I think, and in the field of science, a big achievement, but mainly it's also individually for all of you, something that you take up and that changed your life. And you know, one of your fellows is His Excellency President Ruto, who was also beneficiary of a scholarship surplus here in Nairobi. And he put it that way when he met Chancellor Scholz recently. And he's such a big fan of DAAD, he even asked the Secretary General Guterres to change the date of this year's United Nations General Assembly Week. Because now he's there, he wanted to be here with us. He told us, he told the Chancellor, he told Ms. Schindler-Kovacs, Guterres couldn't change the date. So the President is in New York, but I'm sure he's with us also mentally and emotionally. I think these 45,000 scholars are all also not only scientists, researchers, but they are also ambassadors, all of them. They are colleagues of ours in a way, because they are bridge builders between this region here and Germany. And it's also part of, I think, a bigger effort that we are all doing. And I come back to what is happening in New York right now. Yesterday we had the summit of the Sustainable Development Goals, and I think the work here of DAAD and your work here is also part of this effort to bring some progress to humanity in a certain sense. So if we look to goal 4 of these Sustainable Development Goals, it's about quality education. Goal 6, it's about gender equality, which is a very, very important goal also of German foreign and development policy. And goal number 10 is reduced inequality. So I think all these important goals that mankind has set itself somehow politically are served by the work of you all, of DAAD, and also the university infrastructure here in the region. And I would like to thank you for this. I think one point that was mentioned earlier is also very important. That's the networking amongst yourselves. We did a networking event in January this year in Kenya, and we invited about 120 alumni from Kenya to the residence. And I was really impressed by the diversity of the scientific background, but also the links and the roots that all these fellow scientists, lecturers, researchers had still with Germany. And that's, I think, a point of sustainability of this program that is also very, very important. And I only would like to invite you to contact your DAAD offices in your respective countries, to contact your embassies also, and to keep the contact with Germany as intense as possible. You are really in a very selected group of eminent people, if I may say so. It's not only the President of the Republic of Kenya, but we will hear the keynote later on from the former Minister for Science and Higher Education from Ethiopia. We have the ambassador here. We have a number of politicians, researchers from this network that are renowned, if I may say so, globally. That shows that also DAAD has a very good hand in picking people. because it's also an investment from our side, from the German side. And I can also say that we do it in the mutual interest. It's not only doing good for doing good, but it's also, of course, investing in the partnership and in the political stability of this partnership to this region, which is very, very important for us. So as was said earlier also, we are not only celebrating 50 years of DAAD, but also 60 years of Kenyan-German relations. My predecessor was the first ambassador. Probably he built up a tent in front of State House, but he was the first who presented his credentials. And that's why we have the number plate 1CD. And I can tell you that my colleagues from UK and US and other countries approached me and asked me if we could probably change. But we will never do this. Never, ever. So that's a promise, because we are very proud to be the number one in this country. Thank you. So we will use also the next month to celebrate the 60 years. This weekend we will go to Eldoret also to celebrate the Berlin Marathon and the fantastic Kenyan runners, Kipchoge. Probably he will get the 5th, I think, victory in Berlin, his 5th BMW also. So, and we will all do this under the umbrella also of 60 years of Kenyan-German relations and also 50 years of DAAD presence here. So once again, I would like to congratulate from the bottom of my heart, and I'm very much looking forward also to a nice event, a nice Sherehe Kidogo in the residence tonight. You're all invited, and we will meet again there. So I wish you a good discussion today, and see you later then in the evening in the residence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our speakers for setting the tone, the expectations, and the mood for our day today. Thank you very much. Yes, I know there is one person I did not introduce who you see here. I wanted to keep this special person for last, because she is the former ambassador to of the Republic of Tanzania to the United Kingdom and ambassador to Ireland. She just returned home to Tanzania. And she is obviously a DAAD alumna, and you can also see her portrait among 49 others along the walls here, as Dr. Six already pointed out, and also outside. So that same thing applies to Professor Woldemariam's portrait. She's also there, but this is something for later. Right now, I want you to meet her. Her Excellency Dr. Rose Asher Migiru, for her keynote speech. And I believe she has a lot to say, because she is not only a DAAD alumna with a stellar career in the academics and in the diplomatic circles, she is also still, I really had to confirm, I had to write to her personal assistant and confirm whether this is really correct. She was the first, and until today, the undefeated first female graduate of the University of Dar es Salaam Law School with the highest marks. So she takes a look back at her career, but not only that, because we don't want to go backwards, we want to go forward. So, and that's why I would like to welcome her to give us her keynote address, her journey into the past to chart a future, 50 years of East African-German academic exchange and cooperation. Dr. Rose Asher Migiru.
What should I say? A wow. It's so exciting to be here. it brings memories of many years ago. And that makes me feel good. I believe most would. At a certain age in life, you want to look back, you want to bring back the good memories. So I feel that excited. I should say a jolly good day to all of you. I would like to recognize the DAAD team here in Nairobi, led by Frau Beata Schindler-Kovacs. I would like to acknowledge and thank Professor Kiama, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, for hosting us and for being there in person. I have special recognition of Dr. Kai Zix, General Secretary of DAAD, because then he represents all that we are in his position as General Secretary and representative of DAAD. My good sister, yeah, we aren't really lonely looking at the gender balance. You have Frau Schindler, myself, and you. I'd like to recognize your presence, Professor Hirut Voldemariam, alumni from the Addis Ababa University, Herr Botschafter Sebastian Roth. I feel, you know, your presence kind of resonates. I just came from the UK 2 weeks ago, and meeting a fellow ambassador, I always be, I believe, retired, feels like we've been zusammen forever. So thanks for being there and for your very kind remarks. I have definitely immense pleasure in acknowledging the presence of all of us here, alumni of DAAD, of various professions, backgrounds. I'm so very pleased. And as I said before, I'm extremely delighted to be in this gathering among colleagues, friends, and above all, you all, alumni of the distinguished program, Deutscher Akademischer Austauschdienst, DAAD. I'm trying to regain the German island so many years ago. Now that I'm speaking very, very formally, I would like to register my extreme gratitude to you, Frau Beata Schindler-Kovacs, for coordinating our invitations and for the very warm welcome that we received since we arrived. I arrived yesterday, and I believe many of you did. I would once again like to register my appreciation to the entire DAAD management team in Nairobi for organizing this important event. It is always a pleasure, I should say, for our hosts to visit this vibrant sister city of Nairobi. We commend DAAD for bringing us together at this historic academic nexus, the University of Nairobi. This institution, akin to my alma mater, the University of Dar es Salaam, is well known for nurturing intellectual growth. And today, you are continuing that noble responsibility. As previous speakers have said, we are celebrating half a century of DAAD presence in East Africa, a period that has significantly shaped our individual paths, and this has already been alluded to by previous speakers. We are gathered to reflect on a journey into the past, to chart a future. How appropriate this theme is. Looking back, this has indeed been a journey, a fruitful one. If I may take my own journey as a starting point, let me share with you how it all began. I attained my LLB in 1980 at the University of Dar es Salaam, where, after finishing the requisite legal internship in various institutions, I was enrolled as a tutorial assistant. It was part of the teaching requirement at the University of Dar es Salaam that after attaining a first degree, an academic employee should pursue postgraduate studies. So it was in this regard that after my LLM degree there, I had to consider when and where to do my PhD. It was my desire at the time to go abroad for doctoral studies rather than doing it in Dar es Salaam, not because there was anything wrong with my alma mater, the University of Dar es Salaam, but rather I had family at the time, and my husband and I agreed that going abroad would give me the quiet away from family and community-related demands that would otherwise interrupt my studies. And I want to believe this is the experience of many of us, females, in our careers, in one way or another. So it was at that point that we came across the opportunity for me to get an admission as well as a scholarship to study in Germany. I had colleagues who were already in Germany at that time. We know that we have had this cooperation for 50 years, so you can imagine at the time there were already colleagues who had been there, and so I had a starting point of asking. It was not difficult to connect with the universities there. Earlier on, I had gotten an opportunity to go to the United States. But again, my husband thought that will be too far. Europe is closer to Africa. So in case there was any opportunity for me, that's for my husband to come, it would be easier to come to Germany. So there were many factors that played out there. So we took this opportunity. At that time, and if my recollection does not fail me, before joining any university, it was a prerequisite for foreign students to learn German, at least those that I have come across with. I'm one of those who like to learn new languages, so I was excited at the prospects of learning German. So the time came when I had to travel to Freiburg Goethe Institute to undergo a 9-month language course. It was a sad moment when I had to say bye to my family, and above all, it was really hurting to leave my little daughter behind, who at that time was slightly below 2 years of age. So you can imagine it wasn't that easy. Nonetheless, that was a significant milestone in my journey. I had been to other parts of the world briefly, but not in Germany. In Freiburg, it was great experience to interact with people from other countries who had different expertise, professional and practical experience from Africa, Europe, and the Americas. All of us united in one purpose, first and foremost, to learn German and join the various universities that we had been assigned. I was admitted at the University of Constance. And if I wanted to use the way they pronounce it, they say University of Constance. They wouldn't say Constance. And we got used to Constance. I was under the tutelage of Professor Carsten Thomas Ebenroth, a renowned German scholar of great passion and zeal for his work. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Located in the beautiful city of Constance, and they call it Constance am Bodensee. This was on the shores of Lake Constance. And I was one of those, joining definitely the residents there to always refer this as Constance am Bodensee. We wouldn't just say Constance because it was such a good environment. The flowers bloomed so nicely during spring. So having the lake there, the flowers, it was really a great environment for us to study. And Constance was just 4 kilometers from the Swiss border. So we used to go across to experience what Switzerland looked like. And as it turned out, whenever I came home for vacation, I'll always take, well, Lufthansa definitely, but at times I would take Swiss Air, to be in Switzerland to see the beauty of that country as well. I have enduring memories of my apartment, and I would like to give it a shot in German. 38 Werner Sombertstraße. I remember this very well. Number 38, Werner Sombert Street. And it was not only the academic bit. I benefited immensely from the tapestry of cultures and ideas that I encountered in Germany. This significantly broadened my horizons. Additionally, and of great importance, All these combine to enable us forge strong partnerships in confronting global challenges, which, as we all know, have no borders. Again, as I'm here, I feel very nostalgic, and I want to keep trying my German. So from this, what happened is this. Von da an war die Richtung des Zuges ganz klar. Those who understand German, I believe you've got it. Maybe I pronounce it well for you to understand. Okay. But for non-German speakers, and I believe there will be few, Professor Kiyama, I do not know you're one of those German speakers in this. So then I would say in English, from then onwards, the direction of the train was very clear. DAAD set out to prepare us to contribute effectively to the demands of our time for our countries and the world. And you have said here that DAAD, I think Herr Botschafter, has said that DAAD has produced world-class functionaries for our countries and for this world. So, and I do know that I had an occasion to look through the profiles of many of our alumni, and I want to believe that we were all really prepared to take up the positions that we came to take later. For my part, I can assure you that the kind of preparation came very handy when I had the privilege of serving my own country in public service as minister, and later as a global civil servant at the United Nations when I needed it. So DAAD has and had a strong hand in what I am today. Distinguished participants, dear friends, in the course of the last 5 decades, DAAD East Africa has evolved into a premier academic scholarship program. It has nurtured globally oriented higher education systems wherever it was present, enabling contribution towards social and economic development. The scope extends beyond East Africa, with DAAD's vision transcending borders. I believe DAAD's journey to this level was not without challenges. The global political dynamics of the late 1980s and early 1990s came with spells of uncertainty and anxiety. Looking back, I may say this was a period of significant geopolitics of the time. Perestroika and glasnost brought winds of change, not only in the original place of birth, then the USSR, but in other parts of the world as well, albeit in different forms and style. Herr Botschafter, you have talked about the plan to mark the Berlin Mauer fall. You said something like this, was it you? That something is going to be marked, I think. But if I didn't hear you well, who said so? A marathon. Okay, I thought it was the Berlin Mauer. Okay, so, but then, from my small apartment in Constance, 38 Werner Sombertstraße, on 9th November 1989, I was glued to my TV, gripped like our German friends with uncontrolled emotion as we all watched the Berlin Wall crumble. This was, among others, the beginning of unfolding political events that ushered in a new dawn of leadership and politics in Germany and Europe. The reunification of Germany on 3rd of October 1990 was a harbinger for forging unity and cooperation among European nations. It was in this particular period we witnessed significant political and economic changes in Central and Eastern European countries. The push for deeper European integration and geopolitical realignment came with considerable change. As students and scholars of the time, we discussed and debated all these issues with great interest. Watching these shifts from my vantage point in Germany instilled in me, and possibly some of the alumni that was there in Germany, a sense of responsibility as think tanks for our nation's future. It is our clear experience, my own clear experience, at least at the University of Constance, it fortified me with analytical, critical, and creative skills, enhancing my global perspective while enabling local contribution. The rich history of German-Africa scientific and diplomatic ties spanning decades has indelibly influenced us, the attendees, showcasing diversity in cultures, discipline, and scientific traditions. My first-hand experience endorses Germany as a steadfast partner in the world of academia and sciences. Distinguished guests, friends, and fellow alumni, as we look to the future, the competitive landscape underscores the importance of quality education. Our collective journey through education is inseparable from the global challenges of our time. And Professor Voldemariam has very well spoken on education as a very important tool in sustainable development. At this juncture, I have in mind climate change and global warming that threaten our planet in an unprecedented way and the very existence of humankind. Many of us have experienced, directly or indirectly, the devastating realities of these calamities. Our part of the region has not been spared. 7 months ago, we saw the tropical cyclone Idai visiting our neighbors from the southern side and making a landfall at the port of Beira in Mozambique. Before moving across the region and leaving thousands of families homeless. Hundreds of people in Malawi, Mozambique, and Zimbabwe were affected by what is believed to be the worst disaster to hit the SADC region in at least 2 decades. On this very soil that we stand, our host country, Kenya, had its own share of the challenge, sadly. We witnessed in March 2023 extreme bad weather, including strong winds and heavy rains that caused damage in more than 10 countries, leaving thousands of people badly affected. As we were preparing for this meeting, we saw in anguish how Cyclone Daniel caused large-scale flooding in Libya's northeast, leading to loss of life and limb, causing infrastructure damage in several coastal towns. Looking ruefully at the aftermath of these calamities, we can all agree that climate change and global warming are real. This is why we commend the just concluded Africa Climate Summit that took place here in Nairobi, where important issues were thrashed out and discussed. It was particularly gratifying to see the commitment and solidarity of African leaders, including my own president, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and a host of many other distinguished personalities coming together to address the challenges that are a real threat to our common home, planet Earth. Aligning with the UN Sustainable Development Goal 13, this is call for urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. The African Summit on Climate Change could not have come at a better time. Commemorating 50 years of East African German academic exchange and cooperation is an opportune time to scale up cooperation with DAAD's alumni and networks. It is time to bolster specialized research in climate change and global warming in our higher education institutions. We believe this will go a long way to contribute effectively to Africa's switch to, among others, renewable energy and promote environmental sustainability. It is very gratifying to note in some of the documentation that you have given us that there are offers, opportunities for us to scale up this kind of cooperation, to sponsor research even for alumni, not only those who are aspiring to go for the first time, but even some of us here. And this, I think, is a good opportunity to take on board as part of our future cooperation some of these challenges. It would be remiss of me if I did not see the intricate link between sustainable development and the empowerment of women and girls. As we celebrate our academic achievements, it is imperative to recognize that sustainable development is most effective when it reaches all members of society, especially focusing on women and girls. Their empowerment not only contributes to economic growth, it also fosters social stability and harmony. When we invest in the education and well-being of women and girls, we are sowing the seeds of a more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous future for our nations. And I'm really reaffirmed in this by the quotation that Herr Botschafter made of the various sustainable development goals, especially the one that talks about equality. And this is something I think we can take up
as part of our future reinforcement of the experience, of the knowledge, and the education we have gotten through DRRD scholarship. Distinguished guests, the higher education we obtained in our countries, the opportunity we later on got to study abroad with the support of institutions like DRRD place special responsibilities on us. And here, I would like to refer to a quote from the founding father of Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, on higher education in a speech in 1960. Mwalimu is a Swahili word that stands for teacher. He trained as a teacher, and we always fondly refer to him as Mwalimu. And indeed, he was. Through his speeches, through his leadership, he was a constant teacher. The quote that I'm about to refer to was made in 1960, as I say, in the context of Tanganyika, as it then was, but in a broader sense, continues to ring true even today for those few, like us, who were privileged to get an education. And this is what he said, I quote, "Those who receive this privilege, therefore, have a duty to repay the sacrifice which others have made. They are like the man who has been given all the food available in a starving village in order that he might have strength to bring supplies back from a distant place. If he takes this food and does not bring help to his brothers, he's a traitor." And here I want to say that the word he, I think, has been used in the generic sense, and it always said he includes she, but we know right now we don't take for granted. But I want to believe that this applies to all of us. So if this education we received in our own countries, and the higher education that we got through such noble work of DRRD, if we didn't go back to our communities, if we didn't bring back the skills, if we didn't pay back, then we'll be doing what Mwalimu Nyerere said, that this will be like a person who was sent to a distant place to get food. And if they didn't bring this food back, then they would be like traitors. So it weighs so heavily on us to take seriously our experiences, the education, the cooperation that we still have, for us to forge forward, but to remember always to give back to our communities. We will be failing in our duty if we did not use the transformative power of the education we have received to continuously contribute to our nation's development, to make a difference on the lives of those who did not get this privilege that has enabled us to be here today. Let us steadfastly join hands to build the Africa we want in line with Agenda 2063 set out by the African Union. Let us nurture partnerships that will help build a better future for the coming generations. We are confident that in DRRD and the Bundesministerium für Zusammenarbeit und Entwicklung, BMZ, we have reliable partners. Ich bedanke mich ganz herzlich für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit.
Her Excellency Dr. Rose Asha Migiru, ladies and gentlemen. So now we would like you to use your limbs a little bit and make your way to the lift, because we are going to have a group photo now on 5th floor. So you will need to take a lift down to 5th floor, and there's a beautiful terrace out there where we will have that taken. Afterwards, we are inviting you for a health break or coffee tea break, whatever way you want to call it, up here again. So just outside this room, there will be coffee, tea, and a few snacks. Relax, enjoy, and kindly be back by 11 sharp. Thank you. Representing the 7 countries of East Africa, which we serve as a DED office and which we have been working with. And these 3 DED alumni will share the stories of the impact that the DED support had on their careers and professional development. And most importantly, as I mentioned earlier, we don't only want to look back, we want to look forward. how can alumni pave the way for those who follow in their footsteps? This session will be moderated by our director, Mrs. Schindler-Kovac, and I would like to call to the podium, hopefully with rejuvenated muscles, Professor Willy Marcel Dai. I just asked him how to pronounce his name properly. Willy Marcel Dayit Wayeko from the University of Burundi. Professor Yalem Tsehai Mekonnen from Addis Ababa University. Dr. Nathan Kaguma Tarembo from the University of Rwanda. You find your flags here, so please position yourselves there accordingly. Then we have Betty Bashir Mamoun Adong from South Sudan. Dr. Robert Katikiro from the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. And finally, Professor Mercy Ntangare, Makerere University, Kampala. So we will have the plenum about an hour and a few minutes. How could I forget my friend Hamadi Boga? Prof, please. Professor Hamadi Boga from Kenya. Yeah, so we will have this panel for about an hour and a bit. And we will take about 20 minutes for questions and answers. Yeah, so we will just let them discuss. And then if you have any questions, please collect them. And then we will give the floor to you. Thank you very much.
Yes, that is working. Thank you very much. Yeah, with some technical support. So, from my end, good morning, and again, I welcome you to the panel discussion on the topic already mentioned, The Road Well Traveled, My Journey with the DAAD. I'm very excited that 7 DAAD alumni are today here on the panel from all 7 countries, and we will share with you, dear participants, the stories of the impact of DAAD support on their careers and professional developments. And they will also elaborate a little bit future perspective on how can alumni pave the way for those who will follow in their footsteps. So now I would like briefly introduce the panel to you, again in alphabetical order of the countries, starting with Willy Marcel from Burundi. He was a refugee when he was awarded with a scholarship in 2004 for a master in agricultural economics and resource management at Moi University in Kenya. And upon his return to Burundi in 2008, he was appointed assistant lecturer, and only a few people in this time in Burundi held a master degree in agricultural economics by then. With these academic tools in hand, he transformed the Department of Rural Economics and was able to build up a new area of teaching and research. Today, Willy Marcel is associated professor at the same university in Burundi and head of public relation and cooperation. And we are very happy to have you here today from Burundi. Thank you very much. From Ethiopia, that is Professor Yalem Mekonnen, the senior professor at Addis Ababa University. And she was one of the first women professors, and also one of the first women receive DAAD funding in natural science from the Global South for her PhD at Heidelberg University. As a fellow of the Humboldt Foundation, She was able to set up part of her research lab with financial support from the Humboldt Foundation, and she now gave young researchers the equipment and also opportunity to conduct their research and gain international experience. Currently, she is the principal vice president of the Ethiopian Academy of Science, and also she was the ambassador scientist of Humboldt Foundation in Ethiopia. Very welcome to you, dear Yelem. From Kenya, on my right, that is Professor Hamadi Boga. The scholarship enabled you to become a leading Kenyan scientist in microbiology, but it also provides you with a very strong network and mentoring in administrative leadership. Hamadi Boga, he is the founder and vice chancellor of Taita Taveta University in 2007, when I'm right. And you're also the chairman of the National Council of Science and Technology Committee for Developing Bioscience Policy. You have served in various academic and political capacities, recently coming back from your position as a PS, Principal Secretary of the State Department of Crop Development and Agricultural Research in the Ministry of Agriculture, and a long, long way with the DID and the AFH. Thank you very much. And by the way, Dr. Asha Rose, also Constance alumnus of Hamadi Boga. Then we come to Rwanda. Dr. Nathan, he is a senior lecturer at University of Rwanda in the College of Agriculture and Animal Science, and he obtains his PhD here from Kenyatta University in Kenya. Unfortunately, not with a DAD scholarship, I guess, in country or in region, but you did it with your own funding. Correct? Yeah, okay. But anyway, now he is a principal investigator for 2 DAD-funded projects, so-called Praxispartnerschaften, University Meets Industry program. And that is also good to have alumnus here for the project funding, because that is a very huge department also within the DAD, and we are happy that you are in cooperation with Kenyatta University, your alma mater, and with Germany, with the University of Applied Science of Neu-Ulm, for very interesting 2 professional training programs running in Rwanda. And you're also the Secretary General of the Rwanda Quality Assurance Network and the country representative of EACON when we had our meeting in Burundi last time. Thank you very much for coming, Nathan, and having here Rwanda as a representative. Thank you. Then, ladies, again, Betty Adong, she comes from a society where boys are given opportunities while girls are less considered. So that was her experience, and her passion for humanitarian work started when she was in a refugee camp in northern Uganda in 1998. Her first degree was in procurement and logistic management, and then she managed to get a scholarship through the Open Society to study in Germany at Salomon Hochschule Bern with a scholarship in conflict management. And I think that is what you need now for your job today in the refugee work. And we are very happy you here as a woman from South Sudan and doing this important work. Thank you very much, Betty, for coming. Dr. Robert Katikiru is from Tanzania. Welcome, Robert. You discovered the art of making presentation from your fellow master students at University of Bremen. You did your master there as well, your PhD, and you have very good experience when you come there in Bremen with a lot of international students. So internationalization was done in Bremen mostly. And returning back to Tanzania, you benefit a lot from this international experience. Currently, he is a senior lecturer at the Agricultural Economics and Business of Dar es Salaam University, and you are also here to represent Tanzania as a country. Thank you very much, Robert, for coming. Last but not least, and now I'm very happy to have you here, because we only have a few scholars and alumni in art, design, or music in East Africa. So Dr. Mercy Nantgare is one of the alumni from Uganda from this field. As an art person, a playwright, educationalist, theater maker, and producer of children's and young people's theater, she is rather the exceptions among our alumni, most of which are normally natural scientists or social scientists. Very welcome to you, Dr. Mercy, because during your 18-month stay at PhD student at University of Bayreuth, which have an Africa focus, you learned a lot of intercultural and also language diversity, and we are very happy to have you here, also from this field, and also women representing here Uganda. Thank you very much, Dr. Mercy. So, that is good to have you now here. I would like to start this panel discussion and asking the panelists to briefly present their journey or their life path with the DRD. And that is what we would like to start first with the ladies again. I would like to ask you, Yalem, to present what was your experience, what was your journey with the German scholarship. You have not only the DRD, but also the Humboldt Foundation. Let us listen to your story. Yalem, over to you.
Thank you very much. It's indeed an honor for me to be present here at this August audience, representing seniors, juniors from the old fields of sciences, the natural sciences, the social science, and then, of course, the German Secretary General, the Secretary General, and then all protocols observed. My journey. So how long do you allow me to talk? DRD. Is it on?
It's okay.
It's okay? Okay. It was so long ago, over 3 decades ago. A colleague of mine from the Department of Biology came from a Europe research, short research visit, and he came to my office and we were chatting. So he told me that there is an opportunity for higher education, PhD, the terminal degree in Germany, and he introduced to me the DRD. I was wondering when he talked to me, is there any foundation, any body in Germany that that accept PhD students to do research and also work on PhD on their PhDs? And he said, yeah. And at that time, in fact, I was trying. I had a family and had 2 kids, small kids. So I was trying as an academician to do my PhD, because to do a teacher, to do an instructor, one needs experience in lecturing, research, and so on and so forth. So in fact, at that time, I started looking for universities in the US. So I was taking exams, JARI exam, and then TOEFL exam, and so on. And I got some attachments, assistant attachments in universities in the US. But thanks to my dear colleague, friend, so I asked him, so how do I continue? How do I start, the fellowship? How do I apply for the fellowship?
I switched it on.
Not good at these mics, Okay. So to make a long, so I don't miss the highlights of my career, my collaboration or my attachment to the idea, let me make the highlight of the whole story. So I started going to the library and read articles which interested me in research. So I took addresses of professors in Germany. So I applied by mail. Nowadays it's called the snail mail. No internet at that time. So I wrote letters, wrote research concept note, and then I got invitation from 2 universities, University of Mainz and University of Heidelberg. And then by some, I don't know, I didn't check, but I just chose Heidelberg. I like the name, maybe. Okay, so I have to go for a German course. So I went to the university, to Mainz, Goethe Institute. The German course, very interesting. Could interact with so many people from different parts of the world. As a person, I like to know people. I like to chat. I like to talk. I think that kind of my behavior helped me know the cultures of our different countries. I was, not that young, also young age, but not that young, with 2 kids. So the German language is very difficult to me, but as a person, I don't like to come out of challenge. So I learned the language by kind of technique just to pass the exam. And then after 6 months, I went to German, the University of Heidelberg, in the lab. I went there, I could not understand the language. That was a dialect, Mannheim dialect, and Heidelberg dialect. So I was obliged to keep quiet, not my nature, listening to how people were expressing themselves in the German language. So I learned the language very fast because I was bold to interact with failures, but with failures I learned the language. So finishing my PhD in 1992, it so happened that when I was in Germany, there was a German Einheit. Der Wiedereinheit, und das war für mich eine hervorragende, kann man sagen, very interesting, very exciting. So I was so excited like the German friends of mine. So I lived the German unity and went back to my country in 1992. Yeah, listen here. Of course, there was a change of government in Ethiopia from the Derg, the previous government, to the government which came at the beginning of the 1990s. There is no wonder because the world was in a kind of atmosphere of change of politics. The Cold War and versus, the rest. So I lived that, and then that in my experience, I think, has shaped me in a way that how people can unite and become, agent of change and live the change they want to live, a better life and so on and so forth. So I went back. So the German experience, culturally, in my career, so I like the language very much. In fact, I can now make failures, but I like to talk the language. I read books in German. So I don't know, it just helped me shape my career and my life, I can say. So after coming back, I didn't want to lose the connection of German, the DRD connection. So I became a self-assigned ambassador of the DRD objectives. So I told young students, young colleagues, my senior students, do you know about the German Academic Exchange Service, DRD? Please apply. Don't be afraid. You will be accepted. So I continue doing that, and now I'm here. If there is more questions, I can come.
Thank you very
elaborate.
much. Thank you very much, Yelem, for this very interesting personal experience you face, and also this idea of what you take with you with reunification. That is really interesting also in the political context, yeah? So then I ask now Betty to introduce us to your story, Betty.
Yeah, thank you so much. I observe the protocol. I'm so much privileged today, to sit amid these doctors. This is something that I have been longing for, and I wish, maybe I could have most of my colleagues from South Sudan to see this youngest country also being represented. This is one of the great opportunities, particularly a woman, whereby there's a lot of inequality, and they say, you can't make it. You are too young. You can't compete. You need to take care of your family. You need to get married. But here I am today. Thank you so much. Just briefly about my journey of my career until when I am right now. So I'm just going to be brief. I came from a refugee background whereby 3/4 of my entire life has been in the refugee camp in northern Uganda with poor quality of education, in the refugee perspective. So I thought maybe that is the end of life, I could not make it one day to be like this, or to travel or to go somewhere, because life is very tough. But I think being raised by a single mother it has taught me a lot of things because my mother suffered from cancer and she had her feet being amputated. So at the end of the day, it was a very difficult life. But of course, I just realized that I could make a change in the family. So I kind of studied, and I really appreciate, you know, the kind of life that I went through because I had to compete, in which most of my education background, I have been sponsored, especially by UNHCR, whereby I had to attain my secondary life until when I go to the university. But I think because of the lack of career guidance, I could not know exactly what I want to be. So I did a course, which is procurement logistic management. But of course, when I came back into the real context, I said, no, I need to come to South Sudan, and I see how my country is. I need to serve. But when I came, I got a dynamic change. It pained my heart when I saw a lot of inequalities and discrimination, especially for young girls and women. You know, like getting married, there's no single opportunity for that. Then I said, oh no, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I need to do something for these young girls, for these women. I need to be a change in their life. I need to really advocate for them. I need to push for something that would change their life. So I said, what will I do? Let me find something. Let me change my career. Let me do something. Then I don't know where probably I could start it because most of the scholarship had been a scam, you know. Like they would say you need to apply, but at the end of the day, you give a lot of money. At the end, you find you've been scammed. But then a colleague of mine came and told for me about Civil Society Leadership Award, which is under OSF, Open Society Foundation. I just applied for that. The first time I couldn't make it, but I said, no, I will not give up. I also applied again. Then that was in 2019. I got the scholarship. And my placement had been in Germany, which is in Berlin. But I think the wind of change blew me off. I did not like being officially with OSF, but I was told to apply through DID. And I'm so much privileged because of the transparency in this scholarship process, like getting the right candidates. It was not based on the background, where you come from, because I was so much afraid coming from the education system, which really cannot compete. And I was saying, will I manage in Europe to compete with people, or like to compete with people with a standard? But I'm so privileged, despite all that, I wrote my essay and everything, I became part of that. So I went to Germany for that. I did master's in intercultural conflict management. So I finished, and that's where my dream came true. When I came to South Sudan, I became a very hot-selling cake in the perspective that from being a junior position, now I am in the program development, whereby I write projects, proposals, especially looking at the context of which women are going through. And really, one of the testimony I can give is about the Sudan crisis right now, whereby we have a lot of refugees coming now to South Sudan. So I just developed a concept note. So that concept note ended up being funded by Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And really, I'm so privileged because right now we are supporting these women. And this is a project targeting women and girls from the refugee background, because I also came from that. Thank you so much, and also for that, for your support, especially in the time of COVID-19. I thought I was going to die. And now I was saying, I'm just the only girl to my mother. Now what if I die off? But the constant, you know, kind of support that continue to give us in Germany, introducing us to different culture. Financially, I was able to support people at home. All this made me whom I am today. And one thing I pray for is that I also look forward to be one of the doctors in South Sudan too. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Betty, and we really appreciate what you are doing and how passionate you are, and also we wish you good luck to apply for a scholarship for PhD. That is the next step, really. Thank you very much. Mercy, now it's up to you. Thank you also for being with us, and I would like to have your story now.
Thank you very much, Betty, and our colleagues over there. My fascination with the country which we call Germany began in 1994. That's quite many years back. I was working with a publishing company as a book editor, and I had gone for the Frankfurt International Book Fair. And of course, you can tell how huge it is. And because my company was one of the very few which was exhibiting at this international book fair, the media was there, and they covered me. And of course, the photos, even if at that time I never understood the German language, the photos came out in the paper, and of course, they flashed also in Uganda, and I felt happy. But the other fascinating thing at that time was that there was no dust on the roads of Germany. No dust on the roads, no dust in the houses. I asked myself, the shoe I put it on for the 2 weeks, I never dusted. I asked myself, what sort of development is this? But also, everything almost was automated. You want to get a soda, you have to punch a machine. So I was like, of course, we were being looked after, so I didn't have to do a lot of punching. But fast forward, then I got interested in, because I was working with a publishing company, certainly I was dealing with a lot of books, a lot of reading, but I applied for a position of teaching at Makerere University, and then I was offered one. I joined Makerere University in 1995, and so I left my publishing press, and now, as my sister from Ethiopia said, once you're at the university, you're expected to grow academically. So I started looking for scholarship, but I didn't look wrong because the AAD had a contact at my department. That's how I think. Performing arts and film, then it was known as music, dance, and drama, came to benefit from that scholarship, which I took because I was the only candidate who was available at that time to take it. So it's exactly, I was calculating just a few minutes back, it's exactly 25 years since I went to my PhD in Germany. At that time, I was a very young. Thank you very much. I know. Hello? Is it on? Okay, the academic exchange. So I took this relationship deeper, That's how I got involved with the alumni who had gone to Germany, and then we got involved after I had come back into formulating the constitution and other things. But also, I looked at the colors of the flag of Germany. It's black, red, and golden, or gold. But Uganda's national colors are black, yellow, red. Of course, the German symbol, the bird, is the, do I look here? Oh, okay. Is the eagle, which I understood that it's a bird which symbolizes wisdom. Of course, the Ugandan bird is graceful, but to me, these two birds, even in what I do, some of the people who work together on the African theater, for example, webinars, will know that that symbol has stayed with me. I keep it because I see the wise and I see the grace. When you combine them, you get good international collaboration. And lastly, for this first bit, I want to say that as we celebrate, of course, the 50 years, I'm also in my 50s. So, what a good coincidence. I can certainly feel what DAAD is feeling at the moment, because I'm also living through it. I went when I was only 34 years. Now I've, of course, celebrated 25 years of German Mirembe, Ntangari friendship or scholarship. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mercy. That is very good that we also know that you have a personal experience in this and also a relationship to this. Thank you very much. Hamadi Boga, you are the next. You have the micro. You are the next to introduce us to your story.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Hamadi Boga. I'm a professor of microbial ecology. I got my PhD from the University of Constance in 2000. And my relationship with DAD is a very long one. It started way back in 1992. For masters, I got 2 scholarship opportunities. One was by GIZ on nutrition, and the other one was by DAD on microbiology. And I'm happy that I picked the DAD one, because as you know, once a dad scholar, always a dad scholar, yeah? So I have lived that reality, because in 96 I went to Constance. I met the colleague of Professor Asha Migiro called Chris Peter. He's also a lawyer. I met her professor when he was sick. It was a good time. I also lived in Werner Sombertstrasse, Achtung 30. Yeah. And I think it was a good time there. Constance was a very strong university in the area of biology, especially microbiology. For those who are in that field, you know most of the books, the Allgemeine Mikrobiologie or general microbiology, was written by colleagues from University of Constance. And it was a good opportunity for me to interact with very good scientists and to develop my career. When I came back, of course, that is the time Kai Etzold was also coming in as the DAD regional director. And we developed a partnership and a relationship that drove the DAD, because I was sitting at the helm of the Kenya Dad Scholars Association as secretary. My chairman is here, chairperson, Dr. Penina Olo, and very many colleagues I see here. And we drove that for almost 10 years, and it was quite a productive time. It was a time when scholarship applications were going low, and there were a lot of doubts about whether we would be able to sustain the partnership. But we were able to work with DAD to really ramp up applications. Many young people got the opportunity to go back to Germany and to also do the in-country scholarships and grow. And I was the secretary of Kenya Dad Scholars Association, and later the chairman up to 2012, until I got busy. And through DAD, apart from the master's and PhD. We did the International Dean's course with the University of Osnabrück. We had the Real Dees Alumni program, mainly on capacity building and personal development of the alumni. And I think these were and they're still very, very relevant programs for the development of the DAD alumni community and the networking opportunities that it provided. I later on went to become a Humboldt scholar at Max Planck Institute for Terrestrial Microbiology, again with a very good group of Professor Rudolf Tauer, who was an expert on methanogenesis, production of methane from the environment. And I stayed there for 1 year. I was also a Humboldt ambassador scientist for Nairobi for 4 years. So there is nothing that is on the DAD Humboldt alumni plate that I haven't done. And that is why most of you are familiar. And I'm sure we are going to keep on interacting and supporting each other and growing the DAD and the Humboldt alumni family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. But one thing you didn't. One thing was not mentioned. You're also the founder of Taita Taveta, and that is also a DAD-funded Center of Excellence.
Yeah, that was a big opportunity. One time when I had been sent to Taita Taveta, this was one of the young universities. That was in 2007. It was supposed to focus on mining and mineral processing engineering. And I was receiving a lot of German friends and visitors coming there. One of them was the Secretary General of the Max Planck Society. So he came there and told me, you know, a university is a place for ideas. It looks very hard here, but with ideas, you can transform this place. And that's when we started interacting, especially under the harder.cent program of the DAD. We got a lot of retired colleagues from TU Berg Academy Freiburg to come and start a relationship, which is strong and still going on many years after I left Taita Taveta University. And I think the success of Taita Taveta University, especially in the field of mining and environmental engineering and resource management, is very largely due to the support that we got from the DAD to set up the Center of Excellence in Mining and Mineral Processing Engineering. I really thank the DAD for that and all the colleagues who contributed to the growth. And I know the Deputy Vice Chancellor is here also representing that institution.
Yeah, thank you very much. We also welcome Professor Christine Onyango, the DVC of the Taita. Welcome also here, and you also have the opportunity to present tomorrow the CIMEREM. Yeah, thank you very much. And remain with the project funding, Nathan. We have also other project funding like the Praxispartnerschaften, the university meets the industry partners. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on how did you find the funding, how did you find the partners, and how was your way or journey with the DAD?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would call it a golden opportunity anyway, because when I received this invitation, at that time I was a bit busy, but I said, I cannot miss this. So I'm happy I have attended and I'm presenting. I am a senior lecturer at the University of Rwanda, and I happen to be a pastor. Now how do I marry these two? What I want to mention, here we are asked to tell a story. In the church, we ask people to give a testimony. So I don't know if I should call it a testimony or a story, but it is between there. So I have a friend who studied his master's and later did a PhD with DAD funding. And he did his master's around the same time with me when I did mine. Then when he continued to do his PhD, he could tell me nice things that he saw in Germany, his interaction, the benefits with DAD. So it came in my mind that maybe in future I would have such. And then after some years, when I was doing my PhD, I again sat in a workshop like this with someone who was heading a DAD project from Kenyatta University. Then we became friends. We had no intention about projects, but we started talking about funders. Then he mentioned DAD. And this same DAD, I have indirectly benefited from it, from Inter-University Council, from East Africa Quality Assurance Network. I have that connection, and I have had these nice stories. So when my other friend mentioned how DAD is funding the project, I said, in the future, if there is a call, we will team. And then I just went home. It was a leadership course. I went home after something like 3 weeks. A call came, a call for submitting proposals to DAD came. Then I said, my friend called me and said, now the opportunity you wanted has come. What do we do? Said we must pursue it. And then we prepared our proposal, we submitted it. After 3 months, another call came. I said I must pursue it again, but this time it was not including Kenya, it was including other countries and Rwanda. But I had already entered the box. So I said, well, I will apply. So I applied, and I succeeded on the 2 proposals. So the journey started like that with DAD. And then one side we were asked to tell the story with DAD, and then a road well traveled. Since I started working and implementing those 2 projects, one project is on technology transfer, and another one is on advancing sustainable economic development in Rwanda through circular agroeconomy. In one of the projects which involves technology transfer, we have had several capacity building trainings where I am always part of the trainings. And we have interacted a lot with universities of applied science in Germany. We have had opportunities to benchmark in many institutions in Germany. I'm happy Mercy mentioned it already, that she had those days that Germany is a place where there are plenty of great ideas. So I have benefited, and that is the testimony I'm giving. These great ideas, I have sat with people at policy level, I have sat with people and discussed with practitioners, university professors, to discuss. We have visited many startups, we have visited companies having circular business models, and all these benefits, I got them because we are now in good books with DAD. And out of these projects that have helped me to interact and have direct benefits, the University of Rwanda has started a master's, interdisciplinary master program in circular agroeconomy, and I am coordinating it right from inception. It is yet to enroll. It was delayed a bit by accreditation, but the university accredited it, approved it, and we are now working on technology transfer strategy for the University of Rwanda. And this has all the support from DAD. So I am happy because the journey is well traveled, and there are a lot of many success stories I can tell, not from friends, not what I heard from others, but what I have seen and what I have experienced myself. So when I went home, this is my last take, I started identifying people that have benefited from DID. When I go to one, I asked him, can you tell me another one? Can you tell me another one? Now we are almost 20-something in number, and we have sat twice to say, what do we do with these ideas that you people have acquired, and how do we expand on them to make a difference in our community? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And also the perspective of having this alumni work in Rwanda done, so that is the next question. But first, I would like to give Robert the opportunity to share with us the experience from University of Bremen and your journey. Robert, over to you.
Okay, thank you. I have to point out that at first I didn't know about DID and German, and this is in part because of the culture that we have in Tanzania. I think my former minister, Dr. Migiro, may correct me if I'm wrong, that for most of us, you know, we prefer to stay in Tanzania. And if you want to go abroad, our focus mostly is to go to English-speaking countries. Now, when I finished my bachelor degree, I had an interest of being a member of the faculty. Unfortunately, that was the time many things were changing in Tanzania, and the normal process here, like the one Dr. Megiro mentioned, like she was retained as a tutorial assistant, was no longer working. And because of that, I have a strong desire to get support to move ahead with my studies so that I will get a master's degree and perhaps a PhD. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. I was trying most of these scholarship from English-speaking countries, especially for the British, the Commonwealth Scholarship, Australia, New Zealand, and yeah. And in between, I was employed by the government, and I was placed in Mtwara. Mtwara is the southernmost part of Tanzania, and over the past years, we used to call it the Cinderella. It's like the backward part of the country. Now, when I was in Mtwara, one of my colleagues got a scholarship, and I went to France. And a year later on, he asked me if I have never attempted to apply what we are pronouncing it as daddy scholarship. And I mentioned even I don't know, even haven't heard about that. And he advised me to go to the German embassy, and I went there. I was lucky enough. I was given this booklet, which is having the causes relevance to developing country. And the officer who was there asked me my background, and I told her I've been trained as an environmental scientist. And then she encouraged me to apply because already I had a working experience. And I applied, and I was lucky. I was offered that scholarship, and then I went to Bremen, at the University of Bremen, but we were based at the Center for Tropical Marine Ecology. It was just a small center which was being funded by the state of Bremen. Now, when I stayed there at the Center for Tropical Marine Ecology, the thing was, you know, German as it is, or the northern German, this is a temperate, but they are teaching tropical ecology, tropical marine ecology, something quite funny. And at that time, they had many projects in Brazil and Indonesia, and they were making a focus on East Africa. Now, as I've said, because Germany is it's a land which can allow you to now reach and develop your ideas, and my target was to reach a certain stage. Actually, I wanted to join university, and as I've said now, I was working in a semi-autonomous government organization, which actually these issues of having like higher degrees is not a priority. Therefore, I was most of the time talking to my supervisor at that time that before I go back to Tanzania, I have to be sure that I have something that I will bring back. And the essence is to look back to our aquatic environment. And we tried to make some proposals, and they were submitting to the BMZ at that time. And actually, the proposal that we made for East Africa didn't work, but we succeeded to make a proposal that worked for West Africa. And it has to deal with the future of fisheries production systems and the climate change for Ghana, Mauritania, and Senegal. Now, within that project is where my professor gave me an opportunity to pursue my PhD. And at that time, I have to ask a permission back in Tanzania to extend my stay in Germany. And in between, as I've said, this Center for Tropical Marine Ecology has also established a strong collaboration with Tanzania. And they come to the Institute of Marine Sciences of the University of Dar es Salaam, and also to the University of Dar es Salaam, the main campus. And they were looking much, the focus now changed that they have to seek for some projects and also to go into these issues of capacity building, because before, you know, at least at the University of Dar es Salaam, there was this kind of collaboration in the Faculty of Law, which is well established, and I think there's a lot of people who are in alumni group that have gone through that. But for natural sciences, especially in the aquatic sciences, it wasn't. And for me, that was a privilege, and I took it as a really privilege. And yeah, through it, it was good that we established it also, and this center also established this something like what DID is doing. They established also an alumni office, and they asked me if I can volunteer to become the ambassador for East Africa, which we are also including these countries, Tanzania, Kenya, Eritrea, but Eritrea is not working much, Ethiopia, Southern Sudan, and Eritrea we are working also on Malawi and a part of Zambia, because I had also students going to Bremen studying this tropical aquatic ecology. Now to sum up, I would say that, yeah, I came connected to DAD through a friend who actually highlighted me, because, as I've said, we are not very much aware of Germany because of one thing, language, and the other thing also the history. If you go back, you know, at the time the Germans were in Tanzania, but it's not much spoken compared with the British, and also with our education system. At least in recent years where things have changed, and even German is being taught in some schools, and therefore bringing this ambition and also bringing a desire for most of the Tanzanians also to see Germany as one of the destinations for postgraduate studies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert, for this story. And now, last but not least, Burundi, Willy Marcel, please.
Thank you so much, moderator. I'm Willy Marcel Ndaitwayeko, professor in agricultural economics. So let's begin my story with my studies at the undergraduate level, which I did it in East Africa University Baraton at Kapsabet, some kind of 650 kilometers from Nairobi. So I was at fourth year under scholarship of Duffy. Duffy was Albert Einstein Education Initiative for Refugees. That time I was a refugee. So the man standing before you is a man who has been funded by many people. I think there's a little contribution from my parents. So at that time, on a fourth year, that's where I went to DAD to apply for a scholarship, thanks to my mentor, who was my lecturer at Baraton University, who is Mr. Angwenyi. So at that time, I won that scholarship. I went to Mo University, in which I did kind of agricultural economics, a master of that. Then in 2008, when I get my degree, I went back to my country through UN repatriation. So when I reached my country, I was employed as an assistant lecturer at University of Burundi in the Department of Rural Economics, the Faculty of Economics and Management. So I was an assistant lecturer. That's why I start using what I gain here in Kenya, just to be beneficial to my students, also to my colleagues, my lecturer there. So I try to change the rural economics into agricultural economics. But rural economics there, I found that 60%, 70% was agriculture. Then only 20% was economics. But agricultural economics is the opposite. You do about 8% economics, then a little agriculture. It means an economist tries to understand what is going on in the agricultural sector. So that's what I changed there. Even the way they write their thesis, the way they do their research, the way they are teaching, all the approaches, what I learned here, I just transferred to my university of Burundi. Then the master degree was a springboard to win a government PhD scholarship. So I came back to Kenya, Moi University, in where I did my PhD studies in agricultural economics. And after that, I was lucky just to interact with Kenya's lecturers in this what they call the Kenya Dad Scholarship Association. They keep on inviting me there, meetings. So I learned a little bit how they are organized, their structure, and so on. So when I went back with my PhD degree, I started to initiate a Burundian Dad Scholarship Association. So I become a founder. Then I bring together about 10 Burundian who are scholarship holders, Dad scholarship holders. Then we create what they call the association, which now is still active, and I'm still a president of that association. Then from there, I try just to make this link between DAD Nairobi and Burundi active, alive. So that's why I try just to bring all students who want just to get scholarship from DAD Nairobi, to show them, to train them how they can win the scholarship for DAD through how they can navigate in the website of DAD Nairobi, how they can apply this, and so on. And also, I try also just to try to advise my colleagues, lecturers, how they can just win those projects of DAD Nairobi. So one thing I like is that DAD Nairobi was behind us, behind our association. They support us a lot in 2 projects we have put in place, and also to try to give us a kind of instrumental, material project we apply and win. So one thing that I want to say again is that we create 2 projects. One project was just to create a center of German language in the University of Burundi with my friend, Dr. Misago. So we created that center, which was unique to teach German language in the university, and we gather many applicants, and until now that center is still active. Then we had a small support from DAD Nairobi in terms of lifting lecturers from Goethe Institute to come and try to test and give an exam to those students who have finished the German languages. And also we are trying just to see how that center will be also a program where there is also a cultural exchange with the Germany, a culture, so that we can benefit both sides. Then another thing I can add is that we have come up with an idea of creating a regional institute of peace and reconciliation in Burundi through a support of the government of Baden-Württemberg. That one we want just to call upon the DAD Nairobi to come and support us and to create that institute, because without peace, without security, the development can't go, can't be good to our countries. So we try just to see how that institute can be very strong, be also very beneficial to all those countries in the Great Lake regions. And another thing I want to appreciate the permission I've been given by my former Vice Chancellor, who is around here, who's in this room, is the Executive Secretary of Inter-University Council of East Africa, who have been signing my permission to come and attend many meetings here in Nairobi or meetings in elsewhere, and to make it our association, that association, to be a kind of active and beneficial to students and the lecturers around there in the University of Burundi. So we are looking forward to see how that association can be an instrument to all our students who wanted to apply for the scholarship, and also to be benefit to our lecturers who want to apply for a project. I try one thing just to see how can DAD Nairobi to make it our postgraduate school, that means école doctorale, a doctoral school, to say it can host PhD students, but didn't succeed. But they say we are still young, the teeth are still very, very young, very small. So now I want to assure them the teeth now are very strong. They can just think about us, how that kind of school can be host PhD student in my country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Willy Marcel. Just a good news for your students, the German students at Burundi University. The summer courses program is again open, and again open for Burundi. So please encourage your students to apply for the so-called Hochschulsommerkurs, the university language course. And I think Anya have more information for this. It's only for a few countries here, but Burundi is among them. That is very good. The second good news is DAFI scholarship are still available. And we have also good experience with the DAFI scholarship for our Leadership for Africa program, which is addressing especially and targeting refugees. And most of the students applying for the Master of the Leadership for Africa program are coming from the DAFI program. So that is also good news that this program is still leading for the next track for the Master in Germany. And also Herod is involved in the Leadership for Africa program. So you see, that is really good for networking here to see what can be done. And also you lead already to my next question, which I would like to open now for this panel. The question about what can, the DAD is of course interested of staying in touch with all of you. Not on the panel, but all of you here in the room. We would like to have a lifelong relationship with you. So what can DAD do, or what can we have to do to reach this goal, to have this really good networking and relationship with you, and vice versa, what would you as alumni have to do to keep in touch with the DAD? So, Yalam?
Please. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening to hear the experiences of the panelists, and thank you very much for sharing your stories. So I think the DAD at the regional level, the office, has got different programs. For example, there is a newsletter. Virtually things are being disseminated. But I think my suggestion is the network has 7 countries, okay? So maybe the 7 countries, we don't know, maybe I may not know what activities in the alumni in the respective country is being done. So I think I suggest that the DAD, having a lot of work is going on, I know, because some of us interested alumni follow what's happening, but may not be available to all. So I think if it's possible at the regional office, along with the newsletter, to make a network platform where the 7 countries can communicate and then post whatever news they have, maybe everybody should, have this opportunity. And then that could also go to networking of the alumni. In Ethiopia, we have the Association of Ethiopian Educators in Germany. In Kenya, the name may differ, but the objectives are essentially similar. So why don't we have a virtual platform, and possibly physical platforms are, as long as we have the funds, the human element makes a difference in making, the way forward, the future. For the young, for the scholars of Africa. So I think if it is possible, without much, the logistics as easily as possible. So Beata, is it possible to create that kind of, a kind of a regular, visible virtual platform in the office, so that we know what's going on in Burundi? I have no idea what my colleague, maybe I didn't, search for that. So, to make it more visible, to have a column or something in the newsletter, and then open it up, and then let the alumni share it, whatever activities they have, how many scholarships, for example, Burundi in the leadership or in master and PhD. So a number, a numerical, not too much writing, a kind of attractive, and then I think. If it's possible, this may not be too difficult, but I humbly ask if it's possible to do that. That could be a first step towards making, the network, the alumni, the activities, the highlights of each country. Not only DAD, it could be any other, European Union projects. So many different entities for research and for education, for for the young to do their PhDs and then to join calls for research, to network in different multidisciplinary approaches as well. So this is my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Yelem. That is very important, and I see this person in charge is Anya for the alumni. So, alumni platform for networking for the region is a good idea as well. That we have on our website already some country pages. Also, this is an opportunity to share information from different countries, but the network platform is something we should really take up, and I think the alumni as well as our Christine for our newsletter will follow up with you. I think it's a wonderful idea to have this virtual thing as well, where we have meetings for this. Any other ideas on this? Mercy.
Thank you very much. I want to build on that idea by saying that for the network platform, we can actually make it also a resource base. We are all scholars, or most of us have gained in the that have been offered. I don't know why the mic refuses me. Yeah, so we have a lot of research that we have done. I know at our universities, dissemination of research is a very, very big problem. We do our PhDs, our MAs, but much of the knowledge we get stays in the books, which we put in the library. So we are unable to immediately transform our societies. Yes, I know the scientists may do research which is action-based, but it would go faster if maybe there is a resource online which we as East Africans we have contributed to, but we can all access. I want to believe that knowledge is no longer a solitary discipline. So if, for example, I know that I've in the past done research that I was docked on with the principal investigator, not very sure that with my performing arts I would add knowledge, but we have done research with zoologists. How do I come in as a performing artist? The fish have their social life, they also perform, they also have culture. And I brought in a new angle which actually they got excited about, but it wouldn't have come up if, of course, we knew each other at Makerere. That's how it came up as a project. But if we have this resource, all our sort of bios, like the stories we have told, other stories are out there. If we post them on a larger resource base, I think we can easily achieve much more, especially towards transforming our societies. One other brief contribution. As researchers, we can take voluntary efforts to reach out to these networks. Like in these presentations, we make notes. Maybe I know I can work with the language, with the agriculturist, because our economies, our societies are still largely agricultural based. For example, I'm not promoting performing arts per se, but we can use performing arts in the analysis of these social problems, the conflicts, in the analysis of the agricultural challenges, why is climate change persisting, and then use the same methods. Actually, this one we're experimenting with some researchers also here from Karatina, Moi University, and so on, to disseminate the information. In other words, to teach our communities in a language which they can easily enjoy and also easily absorb. Final, of course, we have also, yes, sorry. We can form communities of practice as researchers in our disciplines, or even transdisciplinary, we can form communities of practice. Again, we tried this one in 2019 with University Makerere, I was there, Karatina University, Keren was there, there is Moi University, David was there, and a number of 2 other universities. So we can really strengthen our work and also disseminate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've got this.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. I think we got this message that there is a need for networking, more and less, and that is really, yeah, we think about it. And also we have the opportunity to share these ideas during the network session in the afternoon. So we have a very good and open session for this. What is now, because time is running short, and I guess and suppose you would like to have lunch at time in 10 minutes. So we would like to open the floor now for 10 minutes, yeah, contribution, not really, but questions or some comments from the panel to be asked or to be answered. So is there anyone interested to raise the hand and to have a comment from the audience we have so far? So please raise your hand. We will provide you with a micro, which is working hopefully then. Oh yeah, there are two. So we have there one lady in this.
No, thank you very much, panelists. My name is Catherine, Professor Catherine Ngila, the Executive Director of the African Foundation for Women and Youth in Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation. My interest is to find out what is the percentage alumni beneficiaries from DAD, because then from there I would want to know the percentage of women in science under DAD. Scholarships. Thank you.
The percentage of women, I think we are 50-50, aren't we? So 50-50 funding? 55, even more, 55. So that is, yeah, women power, thank you so much. And I think we are working on also this gender balanced percentage, so that is really good news for us and also for the region. Yeah, thank you. Another question.
Thank you very much. My name is Godwin Anwar from Makerere University. Mine is a question not to anyone in particular, but just to get us thinking. It is on the issue of sustainability. We are very grateful for what DAAD is doing and for the German people. But what happens in the event that Germany decides, or the DAAD decides, that they are no longer offering scholarships? I'm asking this question because at Makerere University, the CEDA program with the Swedish people decided to end a program that has existed for over 20 years, where they have helped the university to train over 500 PhDs. So what happens? Are we thinking about issues of sustainability, continuity? How can we contribute to ensure that this fruitful relationship can continue to benefit those in our countries beyond the DAAD? Thank you.
That question goes to whom? The alumni in general, I would suggest.
Good afternoon. Ali Adam from the Technical University of Kenya. As we know that the DAD has produced men and women who are carriers of knowledge, and we call it knowledge for humanity. I will appreciate to hear the voices, maybe from my Professor Madi Boga, the dad scholar in a village, because that is where challenges of life are being felt, and how has our knowledge contributed to the quality, improvement of the quality of life. I think this is important so that the songs and the visions that we have as a champion to drive achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals rest upon the dad's shoulders, and that is where the challenges are being felt. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's a complicated question. But basically, from the experience we've had as the DAD community, we have been in every field. And we have also been working not just in the universities, but in development organizations and in government. So our work and the interactions we've had among ourselves with the students and with the projects that are targeting communities, I think they speak quite a lot. For example, if I can take the examples of the mining program in Taita Taveta University, it goes all the way to the artisanal mines and working with the communities there to train them on good mining practices, protecting the environment, and having interactions with the mining engineers and mining professionals within the universities and also with our visiting colleagues. And we also did another program, for example, with the TU Munchen, and it was on livelihoods. It was also supported by DAD, reconciling environmental conservation and livelihoods. Because like in Voi, you have communities living in the catchment areas, also wildlife, human and wildlife conflicts around issues of water and just migration of wildlife. And so working with the county governments and the communities, developing plans, and this we did with the University of Siegen, and also, mostly it was with the University of Siegen and the University of Munich and the University of Kaiserslautern. We had quite a number of projects, and these were going all the way to working with the local governments and local communities. And I believe most of our colleagues with the different programs, like in horticulture, had similar arrangements trying to impact within their discipline, the communities around that. So I think the most important thing to sustain this is to make sure that our alumni associations remain strong. So the DAD Bonn and also DAD Nairobi has to make sure that all the work that has gone into setting up and running these alumni associations together with ourselves is sustained and it doesn't die off. And we even diversify and create subject-specific alumni so that, because now we have a critical mass. In the beginning, when we started, there were quite a few of us, but now we have in different disciplines, and they should be able to continue the work and sustain the work and sustain the interactions. Like we say, once a dad scholar, always a dad scholar, and this has to be sustained for us to continue contributing to the development of society.
Thank you very much. I think a better closing word could not be. So thank you very much for this. And we are just in time. I know there are more questions and also more comments. And you have really the opportunity the rest of the day and networking in the afternoon and even in the evening. Thank you so much for your attention. And we are really happy that we have this panelists here as a representative from your countries. And I would like to thank you with a small gift.
Again, also from my side, for our alumni, the alumni of East Africa, ladies and gentlemen. And I I believe as much as each of their individual stories was very unique, there was one thing they all had in common. There was always someone who said, apply. There was always someone who pointed out, look, there's an opportunity. There was always someone who said, hey, here's the information, why don't you give it a try? And I think this is the spirit of this celebration. We all, I also had a DED scholarship for 2 months also for travel, but anyway, we all benefited at some point or the other from the DED or any other funding organization, and I believe this comes with a responsibility. So let's help those who come after us to also take advantage of that. In this spirit, you are hungry. Please, those who have not received a lunch voucher yet, for whatever reason, pick it up outside at the registration desk. Otherwise, I would request that we gather here again at 2, because then I'm jumping into the role of program officer for alumni programs, and I will give a presentation on the benefits for alumni of the DED. Enjoy your lunch. It's at the Norfolk Hotel, so you just get out to the road, left to the hotel, right into the hotel entrance, and then again, it's just right at the entrance. Thank you very much, and see you soon. The photo that you see on the first slide is actually from our 2019 alumni event. The big alumni events, which I'm also going to talk about, are very few, and they usually are organized around some anniversary like ours or any other really big event where we, like in this case, invited the alumni of our 7 East African nations as well. So I hope that the group photo you took earlier will be then on the next presentation for another year. So since there seems to be sometimes confusion or also not quite clear distinctions what a DED alumnus or alumna is, I thought I'd just add one slide to explain that properly. So obviously alumnus, alumna is a word from the Latin, meaning from the word allere, to raise or to support. And it usually refers to graduates from a particular university, for example, but also to beneficiaries of a funding organization like the DED. So the plural for the male form is alumni or alumni, depending on which English pronunciation you prefer, and alumnae, plural for female. For purposes of easy use, we usually talk about alumni, but alumni are included in that term. The definition for a DED alumnus is not just anyone who received a bit of funding. Like I mentioned earlier, when I was a student, I received a travel grant. It was just a one-time payment. It was a one-time payment, but this one does not make me a DED alumna. Because a DED alumnus or alumna is an individual who has verifiably received at least 3 months of individual funding from the DED. Yeah, so someone who was funded within the framework of an institutional partnership is not an individual alumnus or alumna. Yeah, it's very important to understand that. And then within the DED alumni programs, we also differentiate again about the Germany alumni or alumnus or alumna. Because a Germany alumnus or alumna is a foreign student who has usually studied, conducted research or worked at a German university for at least 3 months and is now working again in his or her home country. Yeah, so it's really important to distinguish why it will become clear when I explain the individual programs. So what am I going to talk about in regard to benefits that DED alumni have? You can stay informed, get involved in networks, receive individual funding, but also can pass on and give back. So before I start, a few facts and figures. So last week, our colleague at the head office in the alumni department and we sat for 1 hour together to calculate the alumni numbers of the 7 countries in East Africa as per September 2023. And the numbers you see there are in total 11,663. The smallest number, also because it's the youngest country, I presume, are our alumni from South Sudan. They are 43. And the largest number, hopefully, probably, also because it's the largest country in terms of population, are our Ethiopian alumni, who are 3,884. Closely, very, very closely followed by the Kenyan alumni, which are 3,545. And the other numbers, they are there. Yeah? The DED, or the alumni rather, organize around 200 events every year. And we also have about 140 active alumni associations across the globe. Among them are 18 DED alumni who are Nobel laureates, such as Wangari Maathai. And we also have more than 2,000 DED alumni benefit from the scientific literature program each year. I will explain the scientific literature program also shortly. Related to this event is our DED Alumni Gallery. For this 50th anniversary of the DED Nairobi office, we have come up with 50 portraits, which are posted on our website, 50 portraits of alumni from the region. 3 of them you can see here. A speaker in the morning that we had, Professor Hirut Woldemariam, and Alan Mubiru from Rwanda, Brenda Akia from Uganda. But please, these are also the ones you see in the gallery around you and just outside at the reception area. But fear not, you have all this same information on our website, and we really encourage you to look for them. You just homepage, and then there's a link for the gallery. So then in terms of Stay Informed, there is the DED Letter. It's a magazine for DED alumni that contains stories from the scientific and cultural fields. It's published twice a year in both English and German and is free for DED alumni, but I think the easiest these days is just to download it from the DED website. And we at the DED Nairobi office or DED Kenya office, we also have a link for DED alumni services on our website. The URL is up there, but also from our homepage, just scroll down and then you find alumni, and this is the same link, and you find all the information that is there as an overview. Very important is also the service area, because without your updated information, without your updated emails, we cannot invite you to events such as this. And we also cannot send you information such as calls, invitations, or any new scholarship updates. So it would be encourageable that you update or even register in the service area for alumni. You can also set up a webmail address and order the specialist literature that I mentioned earlier. You need to register there to do that. And you also can subscribe to the letter. It is important, in order to register there, that you remember your PKZ. I know this is a difficult thing for many of you, because when we have alumni events taking place, I always insist there is no event without the PKZ. And then you wonder, what is the PKZ? Where do I find it? It's been so long ago. We have the opportunity to look for that. If you don't remember or you don't have your documents anymore, you can email us with your full name and date of birth, and then we can search for it in our alumni database. Yeah, so no problem about that. So the Scientific Literature Program is a program for former one-year scholarship holders of all disciplines from developing countries. That also includes those former German studies scholarship holders who received support for at least 5 months. So once a year, every DED alumnus or alumna can order specialist literature such as books, journals, or articles to help them advance their academic knowledge and qualifications. But these publications must be by a German publisher. Yeah, it doesn't have to be in German. German publishers also publish in English, but it must be by a German publisher. The value is a maximum of 200 euros, and you are encouraged to apply for that early in the year because it's on first come, first served basis. You can also apply for that, as I already mentioned, via the service area. The Alumni Portal Deutschland. There's also a colleague of ours here from the Alumni Portal Deutschland. There she is, Alumni Portal Germany. This is a digital meeting place for Germany alumni, basically. It offers exclusive information, or exclusive information is always very important to have, such as calls, information on events, funding offers. It also offers digital learning opportunities like online courses and web seminars. It helps in the career promotion by using a job board or virtual career coaching, and most of all, networking, knowledge exchange and cooperation with Germany alumni, companies, universities, and so on. And it can all be found under this website, alumniportal-deutschland.org. Of course, this page is also available in English. So the individual funding program that is also very popular is the so-called re-invitation program for former scholarship holders. This offers the opportunity to realize research or work projects of up to 3 months in Germany and to maintain academic and professional contact. So this is usually, or it's mostly used, but not exclusively offered by former PhD scholarship holders who concluded their PhD, went back into their home countries, but want to maintain the connection with their former professors, the former supervisors, the former team, but it can also be someone else. Yeah? It's not limited to that. And in order to carry out a joint research program, for example, this re-invitation program can come in handy. So the applicants must have studied or carried out research in Germany for more than 6 months. And it is also available to EPOS alumni who completed their studies successfully. The EPOS program is mainly, or contains mainly sponsorships for pre-selected master courses at German university, but also for a few PhD courses. So the alumni of this program are also eligible for this program. And between you leaving Germany after completion of your degree or your research and you going back under this re-invitation program, there must be at least 3 years. Yeah, that's a minimum. So you can already calculate if you are planning something like that, for how long have I been back? Do I fall into this eligibility category? And if yes, please feel free to apply. All these offers are in the scholarship database, not only alumni database, the scholarship database, which is on our website. Yeah, in the middle of this, there's a funding database, scholarships available. You key in or you select your country, you select your status, PhD student, graduate, or whatever, and then the respective funding programs will be listed. Another individual funding program is the small equipment program. I'm actually a bit surprised why it's under alumni, because you have to be still a scholarship holder when applying for it. Because the small equipment program targets scholarship holders from developing countries who receive DED support for a period of 10 or more months, who can apply for a grant towards the purchase of small equipment and material before returning to their home country. So usually you return after the completion of your scholarship and your degree, but you still have to apply for this one, which has a value of maximum 1,500 euros, while you are still a scholarship holder. Yeah, so it's a bit confusing, but it's actually an alumni funding program. Another individual funding program is the material resource program, although this really targets more a department. So scientists and academics from universities in developing countries may apply for equipment for specific research and teaching projects. The applicant is an individual alumnus or alumna, but the beneficiary is the department or the students. Yeah, that's why it says for specific research and teaching projects. So it can be for infrastructural equipment, for teaching and research at a higher education institution. The application is rather complex. That's why there are not more details, but an email address down there, Sachmittel, it's a German term, it's, how can you say? Yeah, equipment in a way, but don't write equipment at ded.de. Please write Sachmittel at ded.de. Yeah? Even that program, though, is in the scholarship database. So networking. One of this is this opportunity. So this, where we are at, is a major DED alumni meeting upon invitation by the DED every few years. That's why I also put there Kenya 2023. This is this one. And it is for German and international DED alumni. So what we as the DED Nairobi office mainly deal with on a yearly basis several times are so-called self-organized small alumni activities. They can be initiated by individual alumni and alumni associations. Yeah, for a long time there was a misunderstanding. This application has to be made through an association. That's not the case. It can, but it doesn't have to. Yeah. So from my experience as the alumni program officer, I see that there's no one alumnus or alumna who applies for it. It's always a group, but then one person is the one, so to say, who is the direct contact person and the person who makes the application. But it's always alumni coming together and organizing this event. Then we also have alumni seminars, which are organized by German universities for their international alumni, which also include DED alumni. This is also then by upon invitation of the German universities. We, as the DED Nairobi office, don't have anything to do with this application process. And then there are alumni special projects, very similar to the alumni seminars organized by German universities. They are specialist seminars at German universities, which are combined with a visit of a trade fair or a conference afterwards. So some of these alumni special projects are based on, the focus is basically on the sustainable development goals, such as water management, nutrition, food security, renewable energies, education, lifelong learning, medicine and public health, but also biodiversity and ecology. Again, this information is available on our website. So I want to say a few more words about the self-organized alumni event to give you some practical information, because we make a call to you for applications for funding of these small alumni events. These calls are usually made around the end of a year or the beginning of a new year for the running year then. Yeah? So for next year, we haven't made a call yet. I don't know when it will be made, and I also don't know how much money we can offer. It depends on the budget situation of the head office. But what we can fund under these so-called self-organized alumni events are scientific or topic-related events. Yeah? So as much as we want to support networking, it's not just, we haven't met for a long time, it was COVID, so let's go together and see what can come up. No, that will not be funded. It really needs to be something, a scientific training. There is a new tool, or new tools that have been developed that are on training of supervisors. Yeah? A lot of times these events are organized by alumni who received training from other sites, from other sources or other events, and now want to give it for free, obviously, to other alumni, want to share it and spread the knowledge. So this is really what the DED has in mind when these funds are offered. No. So it's also a requirement that the participants, at least half of them, must be DED alumni. Yeah, it's an absolute requirement. And the maximum grant, it says that 20,000. Those were from the days when the money was a bit more free-flowing, to put it like that. This year we, for example, had a certain amount allocated to us from head office, and then we decided in order to be able to fund a certain number of events, we give each event 6,500 euros. This was the maximum, yeah? How it's going to be next year, we really don't know yet. As I mentioned, we don't have any budget allocations for it, so you will have to wait for the call. And then you can see, but you can already think about what you want to do. Yeah, so because when we make the call and to the application deadline, there might be 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And of course, there are more applications than we have funds available. So the earlier you start preparing your project, your event, the better it will be, and the higher the chances that you're actually getting the funding. Just a tip. Yeah, and again, alumni associations and individual alumni are eligible for that. Application deadline to be announced. Yeah, so just to give you a few more details, I already mentioned that events that promote the scientific and thematic exchange of alumni can be supported. Seminars that contribute to the professional training of alumni, and contributions by alumni to the preparation of scholarship holders, although that is these days mainly done by head office, and seminars for returning alumni. In this context, I also want to point out, we get a lot of applications that kind of have a repetitive topic. And then so part of the application process is a project description, but also a prospective participants list. And when we see a repeated topic and the participants are the same, yeah, so then we wonder, they didn't get it the first time or the second time? Yeah, so it doesn't really make sense to teach PhD holders in proposal writing. If you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's why when you feel, oh, my application was rejected again, Anja didn't tell me, Anja's telling you now. Yeah, so really think about what could be that you as PhD holders, because most of our alumni are PhD holders working at universities or research institutions. What is new in my field that I could share with DED alumni who are in a similar field, but who are, and it can be a regional event. It doesn't have to be a Kenyan or a Ugandan or a Tanzanian, yeah? I think COVID has taught us that virtual events are possible. You can do a hybrid event. You can have people physically attending, you can have others attending virtually. All of this is possible. And if you have ideas and you're not sure, please talk to us, yeah? So that's also my mandate to help you develop that. And I have been helping others in the past, so I think I have a little bit of experience to give you some useful information on that. And the grants that may apply to travel and accommodation cost of the speakers and DED alumni. When you, as I said, it has to be at least 50% DED alumni. Now, the non-alumni can, of course, participate. For example, if you book a hotel and you buy the conference package, you can also buy the conference package for the non-alumni, just not the travel and the accommodation. Yeah, so that's the difference. So I felt that is also always has been a hurdle. So, and I just like to use this opportunity to do away with this maybe misunderstanding, or just like to clarify that. Give back. I think this is what we have been talking the whole day. Yeah. So, what has been given to us, and how can we share it with those who come after us? So, one way to do that is, and what we have been benefiting from you for many, many years, is your expertise as a PhD or master scholarship selection committee members. Yeah? Some of you know how this works. Some of you have served in many of these committees. A lot of times we have committee members who went through the same process, who were interviewed in the same process, and now they sit at the other end of the table, so they know exactly how they feel, how the student who is very, very nervous in front of them feels. So if you are interested in offering your services for that, please let us know. Write us an email. I'll share the email address later on. And then best thing would be to also attach a CV so that we know what your expertise is. And it would be good to tell us what is it exactly that you're currently researching and working on, so that we also know, aha, in this particular field, this alumnus or alumna has an expertise that is very, very recent. Yeah, this person is on top of this particular topic. You can also contribute to the preparation of scholarship holders. It's basically mentorship. Yeah, as we have heard from the panel today, they were always encouraged by someone, or given information by someone, or pointed at an opportunity by someone. It's basically the same. Do that with people. You are DED alumni, you know what the DED can offer. If you don't, just tell them, go to the website and find out. Or go to the DED Nairobi office physical visiting hours and find out. Or join the virtual visiting hour and find out. So there are so many ways. And nowadays, someone said, I think Professor McConnell said, she wrote letters, physical letters back in the day. It's so easy these days, yeah, to find out information, get in touch with someone, but of course it also means more people have access to that information. But ours is available. And the DED, since, I don't know the exact, but it's been a few years, the DED has a DED Foundation, DAD Stiftung in German. This is the website, dad-stiftung.de. You can donate money to help someone else's scholarship be financed. We also have, I think, a Kenyan benefited from, yes, I remember the Garissa University attack in 2013. After that, the DED was very spontaneous and very uncomplicated in providing scholarships for some of the students affected by the Garissa University attack, even though they were undergraduate students. And as you know, the DED usually funds only master and PhD. But in this case, we funded undergraduate students. And then some of them also received master scholarships, and one of them got a scholarship from the DED Foundation. So it really makes a difference. Even money, if you don't have the time to serve in a committee, a selection committee, feel free to donate. Then that was it. So here you have the email address for our alumni programs, alumni.nairobi@ded.de. You have our website. That's just my name. Also everything on the website. Yeah, now I would like to invite you to ask your questions. If you have any, I'm happy to clarify. Thank you. Do we have someone with a microphone? Maybe we also have questions from the online audience. We should also check that.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I have a question. Sometimes when you are searching online, I'm happy I've presented about that personal number. Because sometimes you go search for alumni, for when you're working for programs. But the search
Like which one?
Yeah, if you put in a dad alumni or alumnus, and then it brings you.
So what are you? What would you be looking for? I might not have understanding it properly.
Okay, for example, in the past I've been trying to follow a list for dad alumni so that I'm able to select those ones who could attend my event or make an application. And sometimes you go online these days and you search about people and you get the correct information. But now when you go to search, yes, some of the information gives you correct information that so and so is a dad alumnus, but sometimes that information is wrong. So I'm wondering how can we make it actual so that it gives me that correct.
Yeah, of course, we don't really have an influence of what Google shows you, but we have the alumni database, as I mentioned. And if you found certain names and you're not sure or you don't have the email address, you could ask me. And then I check whether they are in the alumni database. And then I would approach them, asking whether I can share their email address with you so that you can approach them. But as I mentioned earlier, how important it is to update your data in the alumni database. If that person never updated it and it's an email from 20 years ago, then that's the only one I could give you, or that I could reach the person on. Yeah. So it's really, really important that you update your data. It would help us, it would help you in receiving the information. So I really hope that tonight or tomorrow, over the weekend, that service area is almost at breaking point because you all are there to update your information. That would be really cool. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Chaka. I'm also proud to be a alumnus. My father in the 1960s was a father of God in Germany. I was 8 in the 60s. I followed in 1996. My sister followed in a few years ago, listen. Then, of course, my brother also was involved. I said, okay, because I started CAAD.
What about your children? We'll definitely find someone to come stay with you for sure. My comment is you were indeed not updated because we did away with an age limit a long time ago, like, I don't know, 10 years or even more. Because the only age limit that applies nowadays for an individual scholarship for a degree is the age of your previous degree. Yeah, which is, it shouldn't be older than 6 years at the time you apply for the scholarship for whatever scholarship you're applying for. Thank you for Chaka. Yes, absolutely. You see the. Oh, where do I start first? I think with the last one. Unfortunately, the Dean's course graduate are not alumni as per the definition. Yeah, because as it says, one has to be funded as an individual for at least 3 months, as an individual. And as you said yourself, the Dean's course is not a 3 months funding, so they are not alumni as such. Then, of course, the in-country alumni, former in-country scholarship holders, of course they are alumni, because they were funded verifiably for at least 3 months and more as individuals. So you are absolutely DED alumni. It's only that for some of the big family of DED alumni, there is one part which are Germany alumni, for who particular scholarships, particular benefits are only available. When it says one has to be studied for this and this period of time in Germany, then if that does not apply to you, then this benefit does not apply to you. But there are so many others that I have just seen where this limitation does not apply, and then you are absolutely welcome to apply for that. And what was the Cesarem, yeah. We offer scholarships within the in-country, in-region scholarship program at this Center of Excellence at Moy University. And whoever studies with an in-country scholarship at Cesarem is a DED alumnus afterwards. That's for sure. But not just if someone studies there without a DED scholarship, that person is not a DED alumnus or alumna afterwards. Only those who study that degree with a scholarship. Does that answer your 3 questions? Samesa, yeah, sorry, yeah. Mm. Yeah, I mean, of course, as I mentioned, as we can also see here, alumnus, alumna is a term that applies usually for a graduate of a university. In your case, you have your Samesa alumni group, which probably also contains some DED alumni, yeah? Possibly, it depends on how the group is set up. But these are not necessarily the same thing. Hmm.
Yes, it's an exception. That is the only exception we have because these are higher-ranking people where GAD is particularly interested in, and for those it could be less than 21. But this is the only rule. So that's what you are wondering about.
So we can take maybe one last question, if there is any. Here's a question or comment. It's not working.
No, thank you very much. Very, very important information, and of course the forum is very important. Mine is rather difficult. I'm just putting it out there because we have discussed it among ourselves. Few people. We said that we give scholarships to grad students. They finish, they have gone to good universities in Germany, they come back, they are teaching at the University of Nowhere. Nowhere means I don't want to mention names. This university does not have facilities. So that person has got the skills and knowledge, everything, they come back, they cannot do research. Even if you give them money to do research for buying, say, chemicals or travel and all that, still they don't have the infrastructure. So we were asking, and this is a big ask, is that would there be an opportunity whereby that can now think of consolidating in terms of sustainability, where they can create a center of excellence. That center is a center that is going to have equipment, and they can have, say for example, I'm coming from Kisumu, I'm coming from Uganda, and maybe the center is in Nairobi, in East Africa, or Rwanda, I don't know where it is, but that center is somewhere whereby even the alumni, that alumni can go and do analysis, particularly for natural sciences and engineering. So these are the questions we're asking ourselves, that there's too much money being put in training people, but later these people just go to classroom and teach, they go home, that's it. They can't do research because they don't have money. I mean, the infrastructure in the university doesn't exist. So that can think long term about how to address such a situation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that comment. This is certainly beyond my pay grade.
Of course,
But
that's why I said it's a big one.
yes, it is a big one. I think we have DAD leadership in the room. I don't know whether any of you wants to respond or take it yet even further.
Just try to give some insights to the question, which is very important. We know that the group of postdocs are very important, and I think we should focus on them, especially because we face the situation that the application for PhD programs are decreasing. So what we can think, and that is what I would, that's a promise to take with me in the head office, to think about such programs, especially for people coming back, recently coming back, and equip them better. When I was in Tunisia, we had such a program. Young, qualified PhD came back and get a funding, special science research funding, to build up their own research groups. That is always a good idea. But, just to let you know, in case we create such a program, which could be a good idea, it would be then not extra money we get, but then we have to maybe reduce other programs. So at the moment, we unfortunately have the same situation in Germany. Our budget are not going up, but hopefully remain stable. But that means the budget there could then be considered for other programs, new programs like this. We also had a new program idea when 2 years ago, Empower Women. That was a wonderful idea, but we will not get extra money from our sponsors. That is a problem. And then we have to consider, is a group of postdoc more important, more needed than the PhD or the master? And then that is something, discussion going on. It's not the same in Asia, so we have maybe other needs here in our region, and that is what the alumni also invite, to to give us this feedback, because then we can convince our leaders, Mr. Six and others, that is what is really needed in the region, and we have alumni to fight for this. That is the way normally we can create new programs. Yeah? Thank you.
Penina has a comment? Okay. Very, very last one, please. Make it short and sweet.
Okay. Thank you, Anya. My name is Penina Alo Obudo. I'm the acting Vice Chancellor, Masai Mara University in the Rift Valley. I am what I am because of DAD. If it was not for DAD, I would not talk of being an acting Vice Chancellor. Now, what I want to say is this. I think we have had a lot since morning about networking, about DAD alumni. My colleague Boga mentioned something that we used to have REAL. Anya REAL is Regional East African Alumni Network. But I think somehow something happened. Kuchaka, you remember, we were together with Waswa. It just died off. For me, I think it's time we revive the East African Regional Alumni so that it can bring the 7 countries together. And I'm willing to help whoever. Kuchaka, let's help them. We are willing to help whoever wants to start it so that we can revive it. I know those who started it sort of left the university and it disappeared. So if we can start that, we'll bring the East African countries together. The other thing I wanted to say is something that Boga said here, that we need to maybe go subject-wise or areas of specialization. Just 2 weeks ago, there was the African Summit on Climate Change, which took place in Nairobi. These topical areas, DAD alumni was conspicuously absent. Fortunately, I attended. How can we as alumni, because we are a force to reckon with, I don't know any other country that has trained large number of alumni like Germany. I need to be corrected if there's any. We are many, we are 45,000, 18 in Kenya, and the data was given here. How do we come together in areas of specialization, now like ecologists like me? We come together and we give our voice, let our voice be heard on things like climate change. There are a lot of things that are affecting humanity that we as DAD alumni, we cannot afford to be quiet. So let's come together, whether it is in the East African umbrella, whether it is a country-wide alumni group, but let's come together and let that alumni voice be heard. Thank you very much. And I'm willing to do it. If you want, I'll give my contact, Anya. I'll give my contact. You are all welcome to Masai Mara University, the only university next to a national park. Thank you very much.
We will take that invitation for sure. All right, I think this is a great prospect already. Very great prospect. And we have an individual standing up. So it's not like, yeah, we alumni, we have to. No, Penina offered. I think this is really commendable. And we want more of your comments about the way forward, the future. And for that, I would invite my colleague, Jules. He will explain some online tool and how you are to use it, so-called Mentimeter.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So far you've heard a lot from us in the front here. Before we end today's session, I think we'd also like to hear more from you as much as possible, especially when charting the way forward for the DAD and for the alumni in the region. So in order to keep ourselves awake, unfortunately we're not good at icebreakers, otherwise we'll ask all of you to stand up and stretch a bit. But instead we'll ask you to stretch your mental minds with the Mentimeter. So just to check, how many of us have our mobile devices or laptops connected either to the Wi-Fi or any internet? Maybe by a show of hands. All right, I assume that everyone has some form of connection then. So we'll go through a few questions. I'm also a bit hesitant about time, so we'll try and keep bring it back within our schedule. So we'll just go one question at a time, but from your devices, I'd ask you to log into, or rather, go to the website menti.com. That's MENTI.com. And then it will ask you for a code. Unfortunately, I'm sure all the people at the very back will not be able to see that code, so I'll just read it out. So once you're at menti.com, then the code for today's questions would be 13121645. That's 1312. Yes, okay. I'll wait. Once everyone is at menti.com, you can just say Oya or something like to the same effect. Yes, website menti.com. Just menti.com. So Mentimeter would be the back end for us. So for you to experience the questions, it would be menti.com. Come again? The code. Yeah, so the code is 13121645. Yes. So just make sure menti.com, then the code is 13121645. Just menti.com. Maybe Chris can assist. So if anyone is having a challenge, my colleague Chris will come out. You just need to show your hand. He'll try and solve it. 13121645. Yeah. So for our friends at the back, Lisa will help you out. Yes, that's the one. So once you see this nice 50 years logo, you know you're good to start. So once again, if anyone is having a challenge, if you've not gotten to the 50-year logo, just raise your hand. We'll send someone to assist you. All right, so once again, the code is 13121645. Just hold on. So, yes. You're good, so. Yes. Since we're an inclusive organization, we want to make sure that everyone is included, including our friends online. So, could I, by a show of hands, has someone on each table been able to register? Or get into the website, or are there still people waiting? All right, so perhaps we can move forward. In case you've already started with the questions, then good on you. We'll be able to see your responses as we go along. But it will also be a live session, so at least we can get more of your inputs as we continue. All right, so perhaps you can start with the first question. So spoiler for those who have not gotten there, but some of you have already gone ahead, so we'll see your responses shortly. So this whole event today has been about DAD appreciating the alumni for the past 50 years and also trying to chart a way of improving our relationship with you, as well as the future alumni to come. So now the question that we pose to you for your input is how we can strengthen this bond between the DAD and the alumni. So also with the Mentimeter, it doesn't allow for like a paragraph so you can explain too much. It just wants short, concise information from you. So as we go along, try and keep your responses very precise so we can at least see if there's a universal input from everyone. Because thus far what we are seeing is that there's a majority of people who'd like the DAD to stay in touch by email, that we need to improve how we communicate by email, I guess. And then also closely to that is the regional association, so like the KDSA and other alumni associations in the region. So this could be one way that we can improve on how to stay in touch and also how to improve our relationship with you. Oh, and also regular meetings. So I'm guessing that this meeting today has also had an impact, hopefully, and that you'd like to have more of such meetings in the future. So we'll also look for opportunities to bring us back together so we can have more discussions like we've had today. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, we'll probably also share these responses so that at least we're all on the same page about how we want to chart our futures, the DAD, and our relationship with alumni. So we'll move on to the next question. So I think Anya had talked about some of the offerings for alumni also. While these tools or these offers are also there at the moment, we'd also like to know what you think as an alumni, what do you think would be a better offering for you from the DAD? Having completed your studies, having completed research studies, what else can the DAD offer you that would help improve that relationship as well? And how would this format take place, or what sort of offering would this form? So slightly different from the previous question. So this is now just no collective, no consensus on the type of responses, more of just your feedback, because with this one, we want each and every individual to have their input with us. So maybe sampling the responses. Yeah, physical meetings also carry on from the previous question. There'd be an interest in having physical meetings. Also something to do with conferences, meetings, also same thing. I see a lot about communications, whether it's emails or WhatsApp. So basically, we need to improve the channels in which we communicate to you as an alumni, correct? I also see something to do with mentorship for ongoing and incoming scholars. Indeed, this would be a nice avenue to pursue because as much as you give back in different, we'll have a question on that also later on, but as much as you give back in various avenues, maybe mentorship is one that we can explore a bit further to see how we can maybe make it more institutionalized within the DAD so that that is something that is consistent with the offerings that we have for the scholars. offers to support funded DAD alumni. For some of them, I'd have wished to invite the audience to maybe expand on them. But yeah, like I said, I'm a bit hesitant because of time, so this will be as much feedback as we'll look at, but hopefully communication going forward will be more enlightening in the future. Next question. Yeah, so I believe Anya had mentioned something about the alumni portal Deutschland. So if it was the first time hearing about it, or if you're more familiar about it, then the question would be about what more would you like to find on the APD? What else can the APD do to enhance your alumni experience going forward? And there's a lot stronger consensus on mentorship and also funding opportunities this time around. Events is still prominent also, but yeah, now for this point forward, you'd like the alumni portal to focus more on mentorship, or at least present more mentorship opportunities as well as funding opportunities, which would also come back to us. For the person who's asked what APD is, it's the Alumni Portal Deutschland. So it's the, maybe I could, would you like to say more? Yeah, would you like to say more about it? All right. So Anya is confident that from her, yeah. So Anya had mentioned what the RPD, the Alumni Portal Germany is, but also the colleague from the RPD is also around. So you'd get to meet her, and also, yeah, she's at the registration desk, so she'll peek her head in, say hi, then maybe later at the end of the session you can interact with her and see more about the Alumni Portal Deutschland. But ultimately now, funding opportunities seems to be the most prominent thing that you'd want them to focus on. So, you'll get to meet her at the end of the session. She'll be roaming around, but yeah, you'll get to meet her later on. So moving on to the next question. So I briefly mentioned something about giving back, and Anya had also mentioned something about giving back as part of the alumni, a way of alumni showing appreciation to the DAD, and also DAD being able to, yeah, do more with you past your scholarship or past your research. So what would you like to do as alumnus or alumna to help give back to the DAD? Again, just open-ended, no consensus, more of gathering as much information from you so we can put this into the future. So I see one sample of organizing events and creating awareness through social media and traditional media. Social media, indeed, we have some tools already in place, but traditional media, maybe that is also something can explore. Yeah, we'd also love to use alumni as ambassadors, sort of, so that the future scholars and also other individuals outside of the DAD space can know the benefits that the DAD has to offer, as well as the opportunities that, or at least the achievements that they have through you as the alumni. Free trainings, there are various different training opportunities that are in place. Once in a while, when they're on offer, we try and send that information out to the alumni. But yeah, I think as brought out earlier, the whole thing about emails and WhatsApp, improving that communication tool would probably help you as well. Mentorship, again, being brought into this limelight. Oh, guest articles, yeah, that could be one. But mentorship seems to be a prominent theme, something that can look through, and I'm sure, yeah, our superiors here will also be interested to see more about this. Next question. So, you've had an alumni event today, and it will also be interesting on what else the alumni can do when they come together other than celebrating 50 years? What else can we do with our alumni events to help amplify or, I think, strengthen that bond with the alumni? I think Penini had mentioned something about that while also talking about Masai Mara University. So what else can we do to improve this relationship within ourselves and beyond? So conferences definitely comes up. Might not just have to be a DAD conference, can be maybe a thematic conference, something to do with a subject area that would be of interest to various alumni. So that's probably something can continue to bolster networking. We hope that also from us, rather than the DAD pushing the networking on youth, you continue to strengthen the network between each other, even as you sit together, even later on in the evening and beyond. You've improved, at least you've connected with some people that you can carry on the conversations with later on. Exchange program I've seen on the side. So most of the feedback is to do with at least conferences, whether it's in the scientific field or the research field or even exchange visit events. Yeah. So far, thank you for your input. It's something that we'll definitely carry forward and also that we'll continue to share as we go along. Also talking about the alumni associations, since they play a key role in keeping alumni bonded together and moving forward. So the question is, what can or should these associations do within our region? So annual conferences, I believe that's dependent on the leadership within the associations, but that's something that should be happening already. Community outreach, possibly. Research and cultural events. So I know, for instance, KDSA, they have very good, strong members who are in the audience today, so this feedback would also be beneficial to them. If it's not something they've already put in place, they'll definitely be able to at least take this feedback on and see how it can be incorporated within themselves. And then also with your own regional country associations, when you go back home, this also can be something that can be pursued within those zones as well. So even having something like a common project, I think that also touches slightly on the community outreach. So that can also be the same theme. Creation of expert groups to air views during AU and UN meetings. That would also be a good avenue so that at least as alumni you've come together and you can present a solid case within the different unions, whether it's here in the African Union or even in the various UN meetings in different locations. When it comes to the database to get routinely updated, yes, that can definitely be something that the associations can take on board as well. So if it's not in place, they can definitely use it as well. So at least these opportunities that the DAD shares with those associations can also be carried on to the members within those associations. Yeah. So, all right. So I believe that was the last question, but hopefully everyone has been able to give us their inputs, and this will be also shared with you as well as our colleagues in the head office. So hopefully all your inputs have been captured, and I thank you for participating in this. Not as interactive as I have wanted, but because of time, we have to really march forward. So thank you once again. I think I can hand over to our MC.
All right, here's the MC. Thank you, Jules, for this insightful survey, so to say, that we shared all in real time. Before we invite you to coffee, tea, and whatever sweet things are out there, I would like to invite our DED lecturer at the University of Nairobi, Dr. Eliza Panagiotatu, to summarize what we have discussed today. Eliza.
Hello. I promise this will be a brief conclusion as Anya already announced sweets after, so I will briefly summarize what happened today here. So I would like to welcome you to the conclusions of what has been, I think we can agree, a very interesting and fruitful first day. So just to refresh our memories, after the official greetings in the morning, we followed our keynote speaker, Dr. Migiro from Tanzania, on her personal path on how it all began and how it led her to where she is today. And I quote, if I may, the DAD has and had a strong hand in what I am today. So I wanted to keep this sentence. And she also emphasized her responsibility, and that's a word that came up in many speakers. Many speakers emphasized the responsibility this group has on passing over knowledge. Afterwards, there was a panel where all 7 countries were represented. We had participants with different backgrounds. However, I found some things in common. And Anya already mentioned the first thing in common. And it is, I had a friend, I had a colleague. I know someone who told me about what I can do through the DAAD. During this panel, we again followed very personal descriptions of paths, how they attended German courses, how they studied in Germany, how they experienced Germany. And by that, I don't mean only universities. We heard about like historical events, cultural differences, and how these people from DAAD scholarship holders, how they ended up holding important roles in their communities, and how they became agents of change throughout their lives. The discussion afterwards was also very interesting as the need for networking was really highlighted, and I think that became obvious to everyone. Yeah, then we had a really nice lunch break. And after that, Anja Bengelsdorf from the DAD gave a very insightful, I think also very interesting to this group, presentation on what it means to be an alumnus or an alumna, on the different opportunities for this group, and on the ways to go if you would like to get funding. And again, from Anya's presentation, I would like to keep her invitation. Please talk to us if you have ideas. Don't just go forward. We're here, she's here, talk to us. So, again, a lively Q&A round followed. And we finished our day with a Mentimeter, the online tool that gives you all the opportunity to share your ideas. As this is a quite big group and not everyone shared what they think, the goal was to hear the voices of everyone and to be able to see what stands out as a wish, as an idea, as a vision for the future. So thank you, Jules, for that. And thank you all for today.
Short and sweet. That is also what we would like to hear from Dr. Caroline Mangare and Dr. Ezekiel Mecha, who are going to give us their closing remarks, their vote of thanks. So Caroline and Mecha, tafadhali.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Caroline Mangare from Southeastern Kenya University. So I've been given a short, important task to give a vote of thanks. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizers of the DAD Alumni Network meeting celebrating 50 years of East Africa German cooperation, I would like to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to the host, the University of Nairobi, and the Vice Chancellor for providing the facilities to host this event. I would also like to thank the Secretary General of DAD, the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Kenya for gracing this wonderful event. I would also like to thank other Vice Chancellors who are also present with us, and for the participants who include the alumni and guests from different countries, the 7 countries that are represented here, who have studied, researched, or received training in Germany. Furthermore, I would like to extend our gratitude to the DAD office in Nairobi and in Bonn for organizing the event and their continuous commitment to fostering education cooperation between East Africa and Germany. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge the tea team for keeping us refreshed throughout the event. So once again, I would like to thank you all for your presence and for making this event possible. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. Yeah, so I think the speaker was just left here has said all. So I'm going to write on the protocols the way she has said. So let me take this opportunity also to thank all of you for being available here. It's a milestone. Celebrating a golden jubilee is not something to taken for granted. It's a milestone, and we all appreciate what DAD has done to our region and also what it has done globally. So let me also say that the way Professor Penina said, and also Jaka Waswa, I'm also whom I am because of DAD. So if I can talk briefly about myself, I'm a senior lecturer at the Department of Biochemistry, University of Nairobi. I'm a DAD alumni, having done my PhD in the University of Gießen, which Professor Fuchaka talked about. I'm also a DICE alumni. In fact, just as, by the way, I'm organizing a DICE event on management of internationalization, how we can promote our internationalization locally. You know, initially we had the physical mobility. So from the COVID-19, what happened in the COVID-19, we found that the physical mobility was highly affected. So currently, there's a call which is out, and I'm going to share it to all the platforms because we want to train higher education managers on how they can internationalize their institutions and how we can promote internationalization at home. So I'm also here proud of the DAD funding because I was a beneficiary of DAD. They funded 2 conferences which are organized in 2021 and also in 2022, and the conferences were about endometriosis. So there were 2 global conferences which attracted speakers from all over the world, and based on that, I was appointed to be the member of the World Endometriosis Society. I'm the ambassador for the African continent, and also I sit as the executive member of the World Endometriosis Society Committee. So all that one is courtesy of DAD. So we need to be proud about what DAD has done to ourselves. We need to appreciate what DAD has done to our institutions of higher learning. And also we need to take that one not for granted. So we look for long-term collaboration between our higher education institutes and also the chairman government. Of course, they have done it for the last 60 years. So we hope for stronger ties. And also, as we were taking lunch, I discussed with my colleagues, we need to move from the individual point of view. Let's say, for example, I did my PhD in the University of Gießen. So we need to move higher and initiate collaborations, university collaboration with our alma mater in German. So thanks very much, and thanks once more for DAD and the team for organizing this wonderful event. Welcome to Nairobi. Welcome to the University of Nairobi. During your free time, the National Park is just across the road. It's a 15 minutes drive. You can have your time and see those wild animals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mecha and Caroline. Remember the posters that I introduced, which are hanging in this room and just outside, and the ones that you can also read, watch, read again on our website. This is what I would like to ask you to focus on now. We call that a poster walk. Of course, you can first grab a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a piece of cake, and then you walk with it and read the portraits of the 50 alumni of these 7 East African countries that we have collected for you, for us, for them, to be celebrated and remembered. And we would also like to ask those who are here and see their portraits anywhere to be close to their portraits in order to invite those who march by to interrogate you further or to make you shine even further. Yeah? That would be really nice because, again, this is a networking meeting, this is a networking opportunity. And while Penina stands next to hers, which is even here, so Penina will stand just here in front of everyone, and then you can come to her and bring your ideas, and we will see what beautiful thing comes out of it. So before I release you to the coffee table out there, I have to announce that those who leave tomorrow morning, or in the course of tomorrow, please be ready 3 hours to the departure of your flights at the hotel. We have arranged for the airport transfer, but we have arranged it in a way that whoever knows my flight is at this and this time, just be at the hotel lobby 3 hours in advance and you will be taken care of. You don't need to arrange your own airport transfer, yeah? And after you have spoken to Penina, spoken to Mecha, he also has a portrait somewhere, I wrote it myself, and Caroline has one, and many of you, Dr. Rose, Asha Rose has one, Professor Woldemariam has one. Anyway, many of you have one. Please feel free to mingle before, because as you know, some of you are invited for a reception at the ambassador's residence. We have arranged for 4 buses to take you there. The buses will park in front of the Norfolk Hotel and will leave by 5:15. 5:15, take you to the ambassador's residence. You mingle even more. And then you will be taken back to the hotel. I don't know what time, I guess 9 or something like that, yeah? I think that can be discussed. But please do not be left behind. Be at the bus, find one of the 4 buses, 5:15, yeah? And with this, since we had closing remarks, I'm happy and honored to have been the one to be able to guide you through this day. I hope you enjoyed, you learned, you feel good, and that you can enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much, everyone.